You've got a lot of yard cleanup to do thanks to Mother Nature and her high winds. Finally, though, we can sound the all clear on this latest windstorm. I've got some numbers here for you. Look at some of these impressive wind gusts. 85-mile-an-hour wind gusts at Burke Airport at 3:09 p.m. this afternoon. Cleveland Hopkins, 77 miles per hour. Sandusky had a wind gust of 77 miles per hour, as did Lorain. Medina, 74 miles per hour. All hurricane force type winds. Impressive. Damage impressive. At one time, 258,000 northern Ohioans without power across the entire state. More than 500,000 people. 500,000 without power. It's going to take days to get that power back on, days to clean up. Thankfully, though, the winds are going to subside for Saturday. Hopefully you're A-OK. Stay alert, stay connected, everybody.
Well, happily for everybody involved, Anthony, Eli, and myself are not any of the 258,000 Northeast Ohioans without power. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. And on that note, we will say that if any one of the three or all three of us kind of teleport out of here very, very quickly, it's because it's fucking windy outside. Yeah, you heard Mark Johnson, courtesy WKYC News. Get gusts of 80-mile-an-hour wind spots, 70-mile-an-hour winds across Northeast Ohio. And I don't know about you, gentlemen. I'm out here in Menor. I'm still getting absolutely crack blocked by these wind gusts. They're just banging against the house. It seems like every 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. You know, it's been absolutely nuts. Shout out to Chad from Primetime, Chad Bryan. He's been dealing with some crazy power issues, and I mean, we haven't ran into too much here in Parma, but we have experienced a flicker here or there. But the winds have been crazy. The winds have been crazy. Not as bad as out there. I've heard Rozycki. I've heard it's been nuts out there. Double A. How are you faring over there?
It's very much touch and go. And again, same thing. If the Spectrum Internet at any point says no more, that's the end of my contribution to the show. At least until we fire back up. But yeah, it was crazy. Like driving here Friday, there's usually two ways you can go. So I take the neighborhood way, and that was blocked off. An entire tree down, covering a road.
Yeah, we had a lot of that out here too.
Yeah, and then you go the other way. We have our local high school here, and a couple of the light poles down, just ripped apart. The PNC Bank. We have a branch about a mile or so from here, and half of the pole off the ground. So this is serious stuff. And even today, right now, is what we're talking about. Like I was just on the road driving, and yeah, it was a little bit of drifting, just a little bit, because it just kicks in. So yeah, thank you again for bearing with us, and be safe. Some tough times.
And it's stuff like this because, like, it's weird right now. I don't know how it is around your parts. It's mid-60s out here. It is warm. Otherwise I'd be out in shorts right now.
72 here in Bedford.
Yeah. So it's warm out. It's not like it's bad weather. It's not like it's fit for neither man nor beast. But it's just windy as shit. And it's times like this that truly make you realize too how useless we are as human beings if that magical juice that pops out of the wall every day doesn't come. If the light switch doesn't turn on, if the router doesn't work, if the TV can't turn on, then we are bona fide screwed, really, kind of as a people. And all it takes is 10 minutes with no power to kind of remind everybody of that.
Yeah,
dude, it's all bad too, because it's like for my day job. It's a work from home job, so internet goes down. I better find somebody who has internet. Hopefully, the library has internet, or family that's
Starbucks.
Yeah, that they have internet. I can quickly pack up and fire and head where I need to go. But if we're talking about entire neighborhoods without power,
right?
And then clients from across the country, they're still depending on stuff. So even with the power out, deadlines still have to be met. So like this is tough stuff.
Yeah. It's crazy, and just, I mean, out of nowhere, we've had Winter Storm Fern this winter. We've had just a crazy turn of weather events, and I mean, this is just the wind gust of March, I guess.
We've had all 4 seasons. This happens every year. Screw that groundhog. I actually sent that to you guys in the email. Screw that groundhog, little lying bastards. But we've had all 4 seasons. I think in a span of 2 days. And then, did you guys see the forecast? Like the next 2 days, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think by Tuesday it's supposed to be wind chill -10, negative something or other. That's what I was seeing.
Bruh, man, either people aren't going to have power or going to be sick.
Yeah, well, and hopefully all this weather will get straightened out before baseball season really starts kicking in. The last thing I want is that. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is right now. I will take what I can get for the remaining time I am up here north until we venture down to more sunshiny and southern states. But yeah, well, we're just gonna do it here.
Can we briefly bring up, since you brought up bad weather, we got the home opener coming up in a few weeks. Our 2016 experience.
Yes, actually, it is right here according to my my handy dandy Guardians chart. Yeah, I mean, Nikki and I have been thinking about getting tickets for that here and there, but we're like, okay, it's if it's 65 out without the wind like it is now, we'll take it. But if it's 31 degrees and half rainy like it was that damn remote we did 10 years ago, I'm cool. I don't need that at all as a human being. Like, I've looked at you guys for Browns games and said, I'll go in early October. I'll go in September. I'm not going in December outside. I'm not drinking outside for 5 hours for fun in December in Cleveland. No.
Yeah. I remember it was during the Browns 1-15 season, and a friend of mine had asked me, "Hey, do you want to go to the Browns game?" And I said, "I'm not buying tickets to the Browns game. They're not very good right now." Story of our lives. And I go, "I'm not going." They go, no. I already have the ticket. I'll buy your, at the time I was still drinking. I'll buy your first beer. Okay, cool. Perfect. I will go. That's the only time you can get me out there in a December game, a November game, is if I was still drinking and the ticket was free. I'm not going cold to a Browns game to watch them lose more than likely 10-7, 7-3. I'm cool.
So if we have new viewers, so people don't know this. So in 2016, our show for another network did a live remote for the Cleveland Indians opening day. And we're at this establishment in downtown. And this is 2016, so we have a giant mixing board and all this stuff. Like, we're in the corner. They put us there. And it was decent as far as attendance. It was okay. It was decent. One out of 50 downtown restaurants at that time that were open. When they announced, I think it was like 2:30. When they announced that the game was postponed until Friday or until the next day, within, how long did it take? Like 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. That place was so packed because everyone was just cold. They wanted, the game's called. We already called off of work, so we're just gonna get drunk.
It was just clear out. It was like instant flip of a switch. We're like, yep, we're done. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only other thing I saw, and it was the opposite, that was that quick, and it was a completely packed bar clearing out. When I was working, I was waiting tables. That's how long ago this was. We had LeBron James on the TV in that red plaid shirt, red and white plaid, talking to Jim Gray. We had a full house. And he said, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach." I think I cashed out about 30 checks within 10 minutes. We went from packed to ghost town. Like, Sunday afternoon in July, dead. Just nuts. And that one, when we did the remote, was the complete opposite. Was flip of a switch, you're gonna get pummeled. And Yeah, we worked with it. We did what we did, but I'm glad now we are older and wiser for it for sure. But shall we get on with actual sporting conversation? The whole reason why we're here, I think, actually, John.
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Although I'm looking forward to one of the stories.
Well, we while we were talking, actually, it looks like the Dominican Republic loaded up the bases against the United States in the World Baseball Classic. I think Paul Skeens got out of that one, and it is still 2-1, just 3 solo home runs, for 2 for the Americans and 1 for the Dominicans, and that's where it's at right now. We'll keep you updated throughout that, and we'll also get Double A at some point in time to explain why he hates America and doesn't give a shit about the WBC. But
I'll explain. We'll get
and I'll have a little bit of a retort. I'll have a small defense here for because I've watched it limited, small amounts here and there. The stuff I've seen though has been absolutely outstanding to watch. But I guess the big news throughout the land, throughout Northeast Ohio right now, I guess, and Northwest, just Ohio in general, the Miami Redhawks. It turns out you can go undefeated, have a really, really weak strength of schedule, get bounced in your conference tournament, and still go to the big dance, the NCAA tournaments. Selection Sunday was today, and it looks like now the Redhawks are in by the hair of their chinny chin chin, but they are in. Do we have any first impressions on Miami going to the dance?
Well, I do. I think with.
By the way, shout out MAC. That means 2 teams for the MAC.
Yeah, first time, I believe, since 99. The 99 season, or 98 or 99 season, when Kent State and Miami of Ohio both got in. No, first off, congrats to Miami. I mean, we got to talk about, going undefeated, that's tough. I mean, that's tough to do. But there were legitimate scheduling concerns. Most of it out of their control. I mean, teams didn't want to. They tried to schedule tough teams, and they said no. So that had to count for something. I'll say this though, watching their tournament game against UMass, it wasn't that they played competitively and they lost close, and UMass Miami flat out didn't show up. They didn't look like they really didn't look like they belonged on the floor in that contest. And I think that deserved a second look from the committee. And the committee essentially pretty much said, if the bubble was a bit stronger, then this has been a historically weak bubble. If the bubble was stronger, Miami would be in the NIT. They would have not made the NCAA tournament. So you got to show up. And I didn't like the fact that their coach was like, how can you schedule us for an 11 o'clock tip? We're the top seed. We can't. Every conference tournament across the board for decades have scheduled their top seed at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the afternoon on purpose. It's been done for years. The expectation is that you blow out your significantly inferior opponent and then you get to go to bed. So the fact that they weren't able to take care of business against UMass and not show up, I think they deserve to sweat a little bit. But I am glad that they made the tournament, though, and they'll get a chance to prove themselves in the first 4.
And I think also, to Double A's point, the fact that the team they lost to is coached by Frank Martin, UMass, and Frank Martin's had some deep NCAA tournament run before, I believe, with South Carolina. So it's at least against a well-respected coach. It kind of was like the closest to a litmus test they could have, I feel like, was this Frank Martin UMass team. And, I mean, it didn't look great. But however, 31-1 gets you into the tournament. To Double A's point, if teams like Auburn and those types of teams would have beat or had those types of runs like Ohio State did to end the season, that's Ohio State get into the NCAA tournament as an 8th seed, then you see, Miami maybe not get into the tournament. But They did, like Double A said, benefit off of the bubble, 31-1, undefeated regular season. But if that was the test, if Frank Martin and this UMass team, it was the closest thing to the test for Miami, then I'm a bit nervous for them in this tournament, in this first 4 game against SMU, because they've had some struggles late in the season. They almost lost their perfect season to Ohio, to the Bobcats, right near the end of the year. So it's not like it's been, flawless for the Red Hawks here near the end of the year. It's actually been a disastrous end. Not to throw a jab at your Pittsburgh Steelers, Rob, but it reminds me a lot of 2020 when the Steelers won the division, but they just started sliding quickly and fell to the Browns team in the wild card. It feels like this
Thank
Miami
you for
team.
mentioning the year, because you'd have to narrow it down on the year that the
Yeah.
Steelers backed into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, back to me. So
We have our CDL. We are so good at being able to park that thing, just back that bastard right up into the parking lot.
Hey, listen,
No
maybe
problem.
not congratulate average.
Look,
Pittsburgh.
But all I know is the Miami Red Hawks, Double A really hit the nail on the head. The bubble not being as strong as years past is the reason they are in, because the committee would have disrespected 31-1 if they had the opportunity to. Auburn, like the closest team was Auburn, and they didn't give them the opportunity to.
Well, the thing is, and I think in a weird way, and we smacked them around a little bit, and you guys did on prime time, and I'm sure Double A mentioned it a little bit on Midnight Run. That Bruce Pearl was running his mouth about and having his connections to Auburn and running his mouth about Miami. I know we were smacking him around in the moment, but do you think that helped out at all? Because before this whole selection process, we had a good 10-day discussion as a national media group about how full of shit Auburn was, and about how going undefeated in your regular season did have to mean something. I don't know, without that conversation, if the NCAA would have done what they did.
I think that's a legitimate question. I really do. And Auburn did not help themselves in the SEC tournament. I mean, I'm just imagining this. Imagine if Auburn would have won a game or two and moved forward in the SEC tournament. It would have been Auburn knocking out Miami.
Yeah.
So I think that's legitimate. The fact now as well, Rob, that and you guys have mentioned it a little bit, but let's not gloss over it. The fact that Bruce Pearl made those statements, and he's still getting paid by Auburn, and his son is there. I think the committee was under a little bit of legitimate pressure to kind of ensure that Auburn did not get in based on power play influence.
Or, where actually in a way, you see the coach's kid go one of two ways. Either he gets the starting quarterback job, he's the pitcher, he's the number one guy on the team, or they got to do 3 times more work to earn what anybody else on the team would, because they don't want to play favorites. I think in this case, with the way Pearl was running his mouth, I think they made the NCAA treat that coach's kid a little bit harsher than maybe otherwise. I think it was, they were strongly discouraged to set the nepotism down, at least for this year.
But yeah. There's one part of Eli's statement that I disagree with. Just one part. And I think 99% of what you said is spot on. The committee did not penalize Miami for 31-0. They penalized Miami for 0-1 in the MAC tournament and looking as bad as they did. And their coach giving an excuse that doesn't cut the mustard at all. This is not a new thing about playing at an earlier time slot. I get it. I mean, all of us in some way, shape, or form, we all have to wake up a little bit earlier occasionally and do stuff. You still got to perform. I mean,
I think both you and IAA have had to give a 6 a.m. sports report.
Yeah, 5 a.m. Right?
Yeah.
And that's out of our schedule, but we have to do it. And if you don't do it, you get penalized. I mean, I think the next topic is the Cavaliers, and they still have yet to figure out how to win on Sunday afternoons. And this go around was at 3:30. So like these are the things that is just a part of all of this. Like Ohio State, the times just came out, the tip times. Ohio State's going to play Thursday afternoon at 12:15. Do Ohio State fans want to hear that they lost to TCU because of the early start time? No. You got to.
That's fair. That's fair. No, and I agree. I guess what I'm saying is Miami would have been in a worse off spot if Auburn would have won a conference tournament game, if they would have won these types of games, but they didn't, and that's why Miami's in the spot they're in. But 31-1 wouldn't have the committee would have been in a better position to exclude them if these teams would have performed. But Auburn, 15, 16 losses on the season. I mean, they weren't very impressive down the stretch, and that's what it comes down to, AA. So I think when they weighed it, they go, Miami of Ohio, 31-1. Yes, an early exit, but this whole body of work, as opposed to Auburn, couldn't even muster up 20 wins, I believe, on the season. So that's what you look at as well. But in a different year, if this was 3-4 seasons ago, I think we're having a discussion about the Miami Redhawks out of this tournament, and rightfully so, because there's a lot of good basketball teams that lose 5, 6, 7, 8 games that go on to win the national championship. And, you look at even Michigan State, and I know you guys are going to give me some heck for Michigan State, but they're a 3 seed. They have 5, 6, 7 losses on the year, if not a few more than that. I mean, but you see these types of teams rise to the occasion. So I think that's where the committee was at this year. It's just the record stands better than some of these resumes that a 14, 15 loss Auburn team is going to have.
They said this was the worst, historically speaking. College basketball expert, the ones who actually watch all the games every single day and every single week.
Gambler.
Yeah, which we don't. So they have said historically this is the worst bubble scene in the history of college basketball, or pretty close to it. So you do have the only reason why I'm legitimately pissed. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
So what you're saying is that according to the experts, this is the worst bubble, the worst at-large field we've ever had. And Miami is the worst team of that field. So we could honestly make a case that Miami could be the worst at-large team in NCAA tournament history. If you're the bottom of the bottom, wouldn't that make you the bottom?
Look, all I know is Cavalier legend Wally Zerbiak would hate to hear you saying that right now. Okay,
he was on that Miami team that was the last two-team league. Yeah. Well, Antonio Gates, I know that was a little bit before his time, but yeah, he would have a problem with that with his MAC basketball connections too.
Yeah, 2007, last time the Redhawks made it, man. That's crazy. What were you doing in 2007, AA?
2007, that was freshman year of high school. Yeah, freshman year of high school. We was just trying to figure out life back then, and we was trying to figure out life.
I think I was working that waiting tables job when LeBron left. I think that's what I was doing around about then.
I think I was in like 4th or 5th grade.
2007. That was the LeBron Classic Conference Final, that 48 or 28 out of 29 point thing, and Cavs going to the finals.
Do you remember? So when the Cavs made the finals against the Spurs, and I know we're going to get off topic for a second here, but when the Cavs made the finals against the Spurs, they did those watch parties. Like before, watch parties were like a big thing, and they had 3D glasses. And you went to Gund Arena back when it was Gund Arena, or maybe it was Quicken. It may have been Quicken Loans at the time, but we went there. And we had these 3D glasses, and you got to watch the Cavs Spurs. I mean, it wasn't a great finals. We got our asses kicked. But you got to watch the Cavs Spurs with the 3D glasses, a watch party. 2007, what a year.
I remember saying in 2007 how innocent I was back in those days. I'm like, the Cavs made it further than what they were supposed to. They got over Detroit, and we got a learning lesson against the San Antonio Spurs. And next season, the Cavs are going to win a championship. And when I said next season, it never crossed my mind that next season meant 2016. So like that, honestly, I lost my innocence of sports for that reason. And that's why when I hear people say like, oh, you'll be right back next year to learning experience, forget all that. No. Just a random thought, but no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah, Rozycki.
Yeah, it's just how time flies, dude. Like, I honestly can't believe that decision was damn near 20 years ago at this rate. But we are where we are. And LeBron. By the way, I did see something where LeBron has now. It's like the next 7 or 8 number 1 picks in front of him, chronologically, have all retired. He has outlasted every other number 1 pick for like going up to like 2011 or 12 or something like that.
That's nuts.
Yeah, because Dwight Howard's now on the list. But yeah, that's just no matter what, LeBron James has always been around. And speaking of a team that LeBron James has been around, and he might be around again. Yeah, we've alluded to it before. The Cavaliers had a Sunday afternoon game, and Sunday afternoon games don't do well in Cleveland. This one was against the Mavericks, and nothing against Cooper Flagg, but the Mavericks aren't exactly in a win-now scenario. And this should have been one of these tomato can games that, you pop the top, you just kind of move on with your day. And that didn't exactly happen. Cavaliers, 10-point losers. What was it, 130 to 120? Donovan Mitchell led the way in scoring. James Harden, I think it was 6 turnovers. Many of them were down the stretch late. Eli, actually, the first thing I heard when I opened up my computer and got on this conference was Eli Moon screamed to the heavens that James Harden is getting older by the day. And gentlemen, I know it was a game on March 15th. We still got about 20 of these things left in the regular season, but this loss seemed to hit Cavs fans a little different than pretty much any other loss in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it didn't look good today, fellas. The defense looks non-existent at times. It just doesn't seem like there's any effort at times. I mean, they're going right to the paint, the Mavericks are. Cooper Flagg has no problem challenging Defensive Player of the Year, Evan Mobley, and going up and getting a bucket against them. And I'm not saying this is completely Evan Mobley's fault. It is the entire team's fault. They have no effort on defense. The only guy that looked rejuvenated defensively was Max Strus, and he hasn't played all season. So, welcome back to Max Strus. He had a good game, but besides that, it was just very disappointing from the Cavaliers. And yes, I was super excited when James Harden became a Cavalier. I thought it was a good move. Okay, win now move. A guy that wants to win a championship he's missed it. He had a chance in 2012. He hasn't been back since to the finals. Okay, this is an opportunity. However, yes, Rozycki, yes, AA, he is looking more and more like 36 years old, which isn't old, okay? Let me be very clear. It isn't old, but on the basketball court, it is a little older, and he is looking 36 more and more. He's had a few big games, but more often than not, there's turnovers that you just wouldn't see 4 or 5 years ago from James Harden being, in the defense, looks lackluster a lot of times. And I know it's never been a strong suit for him, but I don't know, man. I don't feel good about this. This doesn't feel like we're going to get a good return on investment. And meanwhile, Los Angeles is smiling. And granted, hindsight is 20/20, but Los Angeles is smiling right now that they have team control over Darius Garland right now. And he's starting to show some promise with that Clippers team. I mean, they're easing him in. They don't have a ton of expectations for him right now. But this could be, revisionist history. Could be a very, very bad trade in Cavaliers trade history if this doesn't amount to more than past the second round. And that's where I'm starting to feel like we're heading towards. Another second round exit. Because you don't, to Double A's point, when are the Cavaliers going to learn to play afternoon games? Hey, here's a update for everybody in Cleveland. The Cavs are probably going to play some afternoon games in the playoffs. And on a weekend. I know, crazy. Probably on a Sunday. They might even open up their playoff postseason on a Saturday at noon. Okay? There's a possibility that happens. So what, are they going to drop a game 1 to a Raptors team because they weren't ready? It's at some point they have to be ready. Double A alluded to it earlier. They have to be ready. And you can't drop a game to the Dallas Mavericks, who have no Kyrie Irving. They've already got rid of Anthony Davis and shipped him off elsewhere to Washington. Cooper Flagg, yes, he's going to be a cornerstone piece for the Mavericks and for the league for years to come. But right now, we have Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley. We have Max Strus returning, giving you almost 30 points, 6 threes. I mean, why can't you get it done at home?
One thing I've noticed with this thing is that this whole Harden experience so far, and it's what, been 15 games, maybe.
Mhm.
I have never seen the fan base, and Moon is actually a pretty good example of it right now, as absolutely bipolar, as manic as they are. I mean, they win 2 or 3 in a row. All of a sudden, we have everything figured out, and we're going to win the title. And then they lose a game or two, or they lose one game they shouldn't lose, and then, oh my God, James Harden's old man River. He was drafted the same year as Shaq. Oh God, what's going on? So like it's so weird that there is no kind of. And I'm not judging. I'm not like mad at anybody, but there's just kind of no middle ground on this.
Well, here's the thing, Rozycki. I think at the end of the day, people are getting more of a sample size in Cleveland. Fans, and across the NBA are getting a better sample size of James Harden's tenure here in Cleveland. And I think it's okay for every 1 or 2 good game stretch they have where they beat up on a lesser than team or have a standout win earlier on in the James Harden, coming to Cleveland against Denver. I mean, that was one of the first big standout wins. But you look at some of these games and you go, okay, is this what April and May James Harden's going to look like? Is the lack, the defense, is it going to go more lackluster, or this is what you're going to run into? You got to just start getting fearful as you start seeing more of a sample size. And it's the game against Boston where they just absolutely got throttled.
Where I'll get you, where I'll agree with you, and I'll kind of maybe change your point a little bit here. Oh no, this is what you were saying, is that this is what James Harden's going to look like come the playoffs. I'm kind of half banking on that to happen. And the question that I was wondering was, what is this team going to look like with James Harden doing that in the playoffs? And right now, the one thing I've learned, if James Harden's going to do that, we need Jared Allen in the actual, in the starting lineup, playing his normal minute load. Because if Harden's going to do that, and I honestly think too, if you have Jared Allen there, James Harden, when he does that, will have 16 assists. It's not going to be nearly as a big deal on the offensive side if he's that cold, because we've been talking about how Jared Allen's just been feasting the entire time. If that's the case, then okay, but we need Jared Allen in there if James Harden is going to go on one of his vacations, his working vacations. So that's where I'm at.
I hear the concerns. Believe me, and there's one glaring concern in particular, which is defensive effort. And I'm not even going to waste my breath on defensive effort because it's obvious they don't care. And if that continues, they will get smoked out of the playoffs. So if they don't care, why even raise my blood pressure over something that they haven't fixed in the last 4 freaking years?
Well,
that's on them. If they get knocked out due to lack of defensive effort, and the same way,
I'll correct you here, Double A. It hasn't been 4 years of lack of defensive effort. I think this might be why Kenny Atkinson could be on the hot seat if this doesn't work out well. Is that JB's? They couldn't score for shit, but they could play. And they could throw that defensive effort out there. I know they got bullied at times. I know that was an issue. But we never questioned that team's effort on defense the way that we do this one.
I did. I that's where I'll disagree. In the playoffs, I did, even with Bickerstaff, because we got our butts demolished the exact same way. Dribble drive inside in the paint with a bigger guy, dish out to the outside. Guys don't go out. In the regular season, the Cavaliers with Bickerstaff had that defensive effort. In the playoffs, they got bullied.
They got bullied.
Yeah.
But my thing is that I don't think that's necessarily an effort thing. And Double A, you could talk about this as a little brother. When you're getting bullied by the big brother, just because you're losing doesn't mean you're not trying. And just because you're getting your ass kicked doesn't mean you're not trying. They were out of their league physically, that's what it was. I didn't think it was an effort problem. I thought it was a just a lack of ability issue at that rate. They were just getting manhandled physically, and you can still care, but this team's different. This team just kind of slows down and stops playing defense. It's kind of a different, bad defense than what it was with JB back in the day.
Right. I'll give you that. I will say,
what bad defense you want, I guess, guys.
Right. But listen, this is the second time in the last 3 days that they faced Dallas. They destroyed Dallas on Friday night. Destroyed them. Like, Dallas didn't even belong on the floor. So I can understand in a NBA situation, like, this ain't baseball, where in baseball you're every game you're in a series. This is kind of a newer thing here with the NBA, where you are facing the same opponent back-to-back nights or 2 out of 3
the playoffs,
and not in the playoffs. So,
but
I think
this
is
the case. This is one thing but this is, and I know it's not a 7-game series, but this is a back-to-back game against the same team. That's what you're going to be dealing with. You're going to be dealing with a coaching staff that says, okay, we got our asses beat 2 days ago. How do we turn that around on them today? Mm-hmm. And that's what the Mavericks did. So that's something that's always been kind of a thing for the Cavaliers when they get in these 7-game bogged down series. That's when it seems like they get figured out.
But I also think today's game, if there was a positive takeaway, I could tell a little bit about, with the game planning. They wanted to get Max Strus going. They wanted to find a way to get him going. How much was he able to contribute? And the man did show up. I mean, this game would have been a lot worse without Max Strus. But it's one of those things, none of us want to hear it either, but a coach may come out, during the regular season and say, hey, for this game, we had a particular game plan. Middle of March, we already beat Dallas the first go-around. Maybe the game plan was to get Max Strus going, but en route of doing that, other things happen. That doesn't explain, to Eli's point, James Harden's turnovers. It doesn't at all. But from a game planning standpoint, maybe that is something to be, you're trying to figure out what to do with Strus.
And I remember Kenny Atkinson saying, I think it was after Monday's game, that that they're going to have a stretch here where they're going to have a chance to try some new lineups, try to figure out what works, try some combinations, and not having JA there, I think, does mess with everything. And, this whole, knee to knee thing, which we all thought was going to be a day or two. This looks like it's a little more serious than it is. So, we got to get him back. We got to get him healthy. And this team will dramatically be a better team if you put JA in there with what we have. Especially, we haven't seen JA and Strus yet. So,
can't wait to see that.
Oh, yeah. Give them like 2 games together. And they'll play more time. If they have 2 games together, they'll play more time than Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis did in their entire run in Dallas. 45 minutes. They should.
Actually, let me ask a question to Eli. I do have a quick basketball question. So, with James Harden, do you trust James Harden? I trust James Harden as an assist man, somebody who can deliver, when Jared Allen's down in the paint, Evan Mobley, even Max Strus, he can deliver. Do you trust James Harden as a playmaker, as a forceful playmaker?
Just depends on the night right now. Just depends on the night. You look at tonight, today against Dallas, there was just a lot of times where it just wasn't effective. You look at a few nights ago, though, yes, it was effective, and his effort against Orlando was very strong. But I don't know. I'm up in the air, AA. I don't know if I trust him right now, though. The track record, unfortunately, shows that you can't trust him to be a playmaker when it comes down to the big moments in the playoffs. I'm trying to believe that he's going to change that. But, like I said, he's 36. They have the track record, and the Cavs are playing very uninspired ball right now, at least defensively. They could score 120 points and you lose by 10. That is today's NBA, and unfortunately, if you don't score 130 points, you're going to lose to the Dallas Mavericks on Sunday afternoon in March. Welcome to the NBA in 2026.
Yeah, it's a glorified three-point shooting contest. That's basically what we are. Steph Curry was the greatest and worst thing to ever happen to the league because everybody just starts jacking threes up 35 at a shot.
Well, that's why
Larry
Rozycki.
Bird averaged three attempts a game. Three attempts a game.
Well, that's why we need guys like Jared Allen to establish the paint more. That's why we need like the renaissance of the big man is established by guys like Jared Allen. That's why like it sounds so funny on this show when people are like, well, we're like Jared Allen is the number one, or number two behind Donovan, offensive playmaker or scoring option on this team, I should say. Not playmaker, but scoring option. And everybody probably nationally is like, what are you talking about? You have Donovan Mitchell, then James Harden, Mobley, you have these other guys, Strus, No, I'm telling you, Jared Allen is one of these guys leading the charge. I mean, obviously you got Jokic, but those are unicorns. Jokic is like a unicorn. He can step out and hit the three. I'm talking the traditional big man. And Jared Allen is kind of in a league of his own with maybe a few other guys when it comes to reestablishing that. So I think we might be switching back here to a more balanced game soon. But yes, Rozycki, it's been a lot of 3-pointers the last 10 years or so.
Is it even possible to win a championship if you have a bad shooting night from downtown?
One, yeah, but you have 4, no. You can have a bad day, yeah, but you're going to lose a game. But yeah, and I guess you have 4 of those nights before you are told to go home.
I just wonder, and I would have to do research and like thoroughly go back. But because of Stephen Curry and in the way that he's changed the game, in the last 15 years, probably since Kobe and the Celtics were in the finals in 2010, I can't recall a team winning a championship that struggled from downtown. And they
was
still
it consistently mediocre or poor 3-point shooting team?
Yeah. At least, especially since we've been to the finals. Yeah. I can't.
OKC wasn't great, but I think they were still top 3rd in the league. But they weren't, top 2 or 3 in the league. But yeah, right. That'd almost be something to kind of go check to see, NBA champions and where they kind of fared, relative to their peers and in 3-point shooting.
Yeah, but I think we are getting back to a little bit more of a, we talked about the physicality being the demise of the Cavaliers. I think we're getting back to a more physical game. I'm not going to say we're getting back to the 80s or 90s of physicality, but we're getting a little bit more physical, and I think that big men are starting to get more involved in the game. Now, you got to remember, 10 years ago, the Warriors were winning championships playing a center that they picked up on a 10-day contract and would bring in for 20.
Well, they had Andrew Bogut too for that.
I know, but they also were okay when they lost Bogut. When they lost Bogut, they were still okay. They could plug in Festus Ezeli and other guys. They were able to do whatever. Nowadays, it is being
Shaq and the Fool. Who is that dude on Shaq and the Fool?
JaVale McGee.
Yeah, JaVale McGee.
Now you see a little bit more emphasis on that. I think guys are starting to be prioritized as centers again a little bit. It's not like it was back in the early 2000s, but I think we're starting to get back to that a little bit more. Guys like Isaiah Stewart are bringing the physicality back to the league. You see a little bit more, with these big men, like I said, Jared Allen. I don't know. That's just my thought on it.
I go back a little further than you do, where, there was the world of, Bill Laimbeer and Luke Longley and Bill Cartwright and, going all the way, John Koncak and all those guys back in the day. Mark Eaton, they found him working in an auto garage at 7'3", fixing cars. Put him in community college, and then 4 years later, he was in the NBA, and I think he's still number 3 all time in block shots.
Yeah.
But the difference is that where those, big white Frankenstein motherfuckers, where they were, they weren't athletic. They were not expected to really do much offensively. Maybe play good post defense, maybe rebound and get some blocks here and there, but they really weren't expected to do much besides make somebody's life a living hell. Nowadays, the physicality looks like it's coming back a little bit, but not in that way. You got to be, if you're going to be Bill Laimbeer, you got to be able to have a 3-point shot. If you're going to, and Bill actually did have a 3-point shot for his day. But you're going to have to be able to do some things offensively. You can't just be that white goon in the middle of the whole court just throwing guys around anymore. You're going to have a little bit more athleticism and a little bit more game, which I think the way the prospect system's kind of built up now, I think that's probably a little easier.
And to put a bow on this, I think going back to both, particularly Eli's about James Harden. James Harden has to become, on a night in and night out basis, in this offense, kind of a legitimate scoring threat, along with Donovan Mitchell from the outside. And Max Strus coming back will help that too. In this league, you want to go deep and win it all. There's just too many limitations to do it if you are not hitting from downtown.
And what it comes down to, star players are stars because they do it at home and on the road. They do it day in and day out. Role players are role players because they don't do it on the road. They don't do it consistently. And you're going to need those two guys to do it consistently, because in a perfect world, James Harden has 18 points and 15 assists. But that implies guys are hitting shots 15 times. That are implying that everybody else is. We can't be implying a lot of stuff when it comes down to the playoffs. They have to be able to do their thing and get some help, but they're going to have to be able to do what is expected of them. But that is your wine and gold report. Much to the tradition of this show, whenever they lose, we talk about them. Whenever they win, it's the World Baseball Classic. But yeah.
Hey, Rozycki, do you hear some good news? We have a new sponsor here on the Inside Edge Network, and I'd love to tell everybody about this. Yes,
we got to get some new swag here because with the World Baseball Classic happening right now, there are a lot of cool hats and cool different situations happening with the paraphernalia and memorabilia and all that kind of happy stuff. I do like that Team USA hat. It is kind of tight. By the way, they're up 2-1 still. Paul Skeens handled probably the greatest lineup ever assembled. But yeah, we do have a new sponsor that can help you out with the headgear, with the hoodies, with all of your happy stuff, and and so much more. But yeah, I continue, Eli.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Fanatics, as you see, Fanatics.com, and Fanatics, as they say, isn't just our name; it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and the sports that we love. That's why we're honored. Fanatics is honored to offer the fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all over the leagues, the teams and players you love. The wide selection, like Rozycki said, you got MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, NCAA. I mean, you get your Mendoza jersey. It just allows everybody to be served. Your fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, everything else that gets your heart pumping. So go to Fanatics.com, use the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your team. I know we are feeling a little weary about the Cavaliers, but you know what? I might need a new Cavaliers wine and gold, jacket while this wind's still going on.
What jersey
would
you get right now that you would be most confident in the players sticking around the longest?
For
the Cavs.
Yeah. Jaylen Tyson.
That was where I was going to go. Jaylen Tyson.
Yeah. Jaylen Tyson, or if Jared Allen survives the Giannis trades, if they try to trade for Giannis again this offseason.
Yeah, it's weird that neither one said Evan Mobley.
Yeah,
I had Donovan Mitchell on my mind. I just have a feeling Mitchell legitimately they're gonna do whatever it takes to keep Mitchell here.
Actually, the person who I could see being here for a lifer, I could see like Sam Merrill just being here forever. I can see that happening. Like he's just smoking cigarettes and taking threes at 43 years old, just doing the Mike Miller thing in the corner, just having a good old time. But yes, Fanatics.com. You can check out all of that stuff. Again, that is where you get pretty much at WWE. I don't know if you mentioned that one too. They are also a Fanatics experience. Yeah, pretty much any league out there, if it exists, get it. I know Vanderbilt, they have a guard named Chandler Bing for all you Friends fans out there. If you want to pick up that jersey, Fanatics.com is the way to go. The QR code that is right here.
Right.
I think
check that out. And you shall be good to go, and we'll get you hooked up with all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Fanatics.com. We are happy to be partnering with them. That deal kind of closed throughout this week, and I think when everybody at the network saw that, we all had a little smile to our faces because, Fanatics is a nice company to be working with. and we are very proud to call them a sponsor. But this is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We've gone a little long on a first segment here. We've gone almost 50 minutes here. I think that is cause for a break. We'll all get our wind back. We'll smoke them if you got them. And reconvene here in just a few minutes here. We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. I am Rob Rozycki. And yes, we'll be back here in just a few minutes here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. And yeah, see you soon. Welcome back to the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I am Rob Rozycki. We got AA Anthony Alford. We have Eli Moon. It is still 2-1 United States against the Dominican Republic. We'll get into the NFL free agency in just a couple of seconds, gentlemen. I wanted to ask AA because I was very surprised on our text stream. This World Baseball Classic, especially the games that are happening in Miami, the Dominican Republic has been a party. Venezuela has been a party. The United States has had the vibes are a little different. The U.S. team, it seems like it's a little bit more of an insurance salesman vibe. But the games have been rocking. You got Paul Skeens today against a line that featured Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, Vlad Guerrero, Manny Machado, Juman Caminero. You got Julio Rodriguez, Austin Wells in that lineup. And Paul Skeens shut them down. AA, you are not into this at all. What's going on? Why isn't AA?
Well, I was excited. Well, I was excited going in, and I will admit, having the game on tonight, it's been a pretty entertaining game. But if we weren't doing this show, I would have lost interest in the WBC. I think a few things turned me off about this. Number one, your manager not knowing, the tiebreaker situation, that kind of thing. That just gave off the vibes to me. It's like, okay, even leadership's not taking this serious as they need to be. And I just think also the games are a tad bit tough to find, but that's just one thing. But
yeah, the whole Fox thing doesn't make things easy.
Yeah. But I guess for me, I know the guys that are in the lineup, they're playing hard. I'm not questioning their effort. But I don't hear – when I got Bryce Harper talking about, well, this ain't the gold medal, this ain't that, it's just like, all right, why are we watching this? And when I have when there's other spring training baseball going on, which I understand logistics, I get the logistics, but the fact is it gives off the vibes that this is not – important, even though the guys that are participating, the players, they are taking this seriously. And from a marketing standpoint, baseball could be marketed so much better because you have so many superstars, and I'm not hearing promotions, like, oh, it's Team USA. Okay, cool. But why should the general public watch the Dominican Republic? Like, do they not know that there are legitimate star players on that team?
I mean, if you're a baseball fan, the lineup they fielded today was probably better than 95% of the All-Star game lineups that we've seen. It's up there for greatest lineup in baseball history. This was a lineup that had O'Neal Cruz sitting the bench right now. So, I mean,
right.
And in the USA is just as loaded. We have Cal Raleigh sitting the bench this game.
Right. Where's ESPN? I get it. This is a Fox property, and Fox probably needs to do a better job promoting this. But where's ESPN promoting that these lineups are effing loaded? Like,
well, I don't know. It might just be your algorithm versus mine, because my algorithm the last 2 days on social media, it was half of it was World Baseball Classic. That's way.
I guess that's you know what though. That's a legitimate answer. But I guarantee you, I don't know if it was an ESPN property, like this will be all over Sports Center and not, like if First Take would be leading with this, Get Up would be leading up with this. I don't know. It's just the powers that be and others that are not involved with the actual playing of the games, essentially saying, oh, this is not really important. For me, it's just got lost in the shuffle. Now, this game here tonight, okay, cool. Like this is a big time game. Boom, I'm back in. But between all of that and the scheduling, inconsistencies, it's just been a tough follow for me personally.
I mean, AA, I understand, but I think, that's more of a baseball thing. Baseball struggled to to market, you know, and I don't know if this is the World Baseball Classic. It's more of a baseball thing because, I mean, we talked about the World Series being exciting, but a lot of people still probably don't really remember who was in the World Series besides the Dodgers winning it. You know, I mean, that's like the only story is the Dodgers are ruining baseball. There's not a lot of stories. So I think that's the bigger issue is just baseball's not marketing well enough. But to Rob's point, Dominican Republic has a tremendous lineup. The Venezuela game against Japan yesterday, I mean, that was
Italy too. Italy is
amazing.
no joke.
Italy, yeah, Vinny Pasquantino with 3 home runs the other night. I mean, there's a lot of fun baseball going on. Can they market it better? Sure. But I think this is just, unfortunately, you just got to know, you know, Dominican Republic's going to field a good lineup. You know, Italy, you didn't expect to have this moment, but, you know, that's, you know.
I think a lot of it, too, to go to Double A's point here, and you see it like with the World Cups and some of the stuff. And I know NASCAR coverage has been kind of a thing for them the last couple of years. This might be a Fox issue, too. I mean, you know, I think if this was ESPN, and honestly, too, I think we're probably all swayed a little bit that we get more of our sports news. If we had to pick one outlet between ESPN and Fox, we watch more ESPN than Fox. I think that's just pretty easy to say. But I think that's probably what it comes down to is that, yeah, Fox didn't promote it as kind of where we saw NBC in the Olympics or, the Super Bowl or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't really out in the forefront. And I also think, too, the fact that they were losing players. I mean, Tarek Skubal only had 1 appearance because of spring training. You know, Jose Ramirez isn't playing right now because he's getting ready for – and I also think his wife's about ready to give birth. So that has something to do with it. Incidentally, too, it looks like Brian Rocchio has been added to the Italian team. And this is one of my favorite parts about the World Baseball Classic and Olympics in general. They're playing Venezuela. You know, that's the matchup they have. Brian Rocchio was born in Caracas, Venezuela. And he's playing for the Italian team because he has 3 Venezuelan grandparents and 1 Italian grandfather.
See, you two have done more to market the World Baseball Classic in 3 minutes than Major League Baseball.
Oh, did you see that the dude for Czechia that went out there? The dude for Czechia, he went. He's an electrician. Does not play professional baseball, and he threw 4 shutout innings against Japan.
That's an amazing story.
5'8". He makes Pedro Martinez look like Andre the Giant.
Yeah. How come Major League Baseball, who is running this, how come they're not buying television spots promoting these stories?
And I would be very curious because this is the second straight World Baseball Classic that's really has taken off. I wouldn't be shocked if this influences, and I know this isn't a hot button issue, but when they do the CBA talk next time around, you know, we had that massive labor stoppage. I wonder if it's now going to be considered to pause the season a la NHL in the end of July and beginning of August while the Olympics are in Los Angeles. Because baseball is a sport. It hasn't been for a couple Olympics now. It's coming back because it is the LA games. This might be the chance now, coming off all this momentum. You put the stars in there. No one's worried about, pitchers understandably are worried about getting too hot too quick and blowing out arms. You're not going to have that issue come July and August. That's mid-season for them. They're going to be in peak form. They should be able to go. That might be what this kind of is a precursor for. And then Double-A, you won't have to listen to Bryce Harper say, well, it's not the gold medal. Yeah, it is. And I think if you put, this kind of energy that these Latin American teams, especially the Venezuela, Dominicans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, you put that kind of energy and you put that country's name on their chest for an Olympic tournament. I think even though these games have been rocking, Venezuela had the go-ahead home run against Japan last night. That was as big as any World Series go-ahead home run I've ever seen. You had, and it was weird because it's Marlin Stadium. They're not used to good baseball down there, but that place was buzzing. And if you get that, if you put, say, all right, gold medal game, Chavez Ravine, Los Angeles, 2028, I think you'll have some people that are going to be very interested in that. I think players and fans alike will watch that game, will watch that tournament, no problem.
And these players are gonna probably return for a lot of these teams. USA, it's up in the air with who will return, who's committed. You the Tariq Skubal conversation of him going back to spring training, and obviously Scott Boras, being his agent. There's something.
Skubal should be back in 4 years. He'll be about halfway through that contract. He won't need to get paid for a good, 4 or 5 years. So I don't think they'll have to worry about any arm problem.
Yeah, But I believe it was Wilmer Abreu hit that go-ahead home run for Venezuela, and you look at these guys that are playing so hard for their country, and those are the stories. Shohei Ohtani getting rung up twice. One swinging, one looking. I mean, those are the stories, and I think they're leading up to the Olympics. Venezuela clinching a spot in the Olympics because of winning yesterday against Japan. I mean, those are the stories in Double A. It's kind of like the same feeling you have right now with the World Baseball Classic as how I felt towards the Olympics. I like the Olympics, but I felt like I could have been more bought in if they would have done some stuff for the last year, 2, 3 years, telling people who was really leading into the Olympics for the Americans and other countries.
But my final point is this, and I think this is between the Olympics because they could have done that, but I get it. With the Olympics, you pretty much have all unknowns, but you can make them stars. Here, these people. We all know them. We know these people already walking in the door. Major League Baseball is trying to implement the same strategy that a UFC has done, that WWE is trying to do. They are trying to promote the overall brand and the teams instead of the superstars, instead of the players that people will spend their money to watch. And you have a unique opportunity where you have popular players, not just on Team USA, but as you guys have mentioned, on other teams, just in case Team USA doesn't move on, in the past, which they were in danger of not moving on, last week. So you have a golden opportunity, and you don't have people there who know what they're doing in terms of marketing. And one of these days it's going to cost them, but it's one of those things that they've had those issues for years and years and years, and they're going to tell you that they solved it, but they really haven't. They just lucked out because the Dodgers and the Yankees have been in the World Series the last couple of years, and the Blue Jays. So they're going to tell you they fixed it, but is it really fixed from a marketing standpoint?
Well, I mean, this is all going to be a moot point anyway in 12 months. So, I mean, we're going to be sitting here doing shows in beginning of December talking about labor stoppages. We're going to have to get a lawyer on speed dial, some sort of labor expert, to figure out what the hell's going to happen with that, because any sort of momentum they can gain, this thing we could be at the precipice of the greatest baseball season in the history of baseball, going all the way back to 1941, where you had Ted Williams hitting 400, DiMaggio's hit streak, everything going on. We could have that happen, and it could all be for naught if this next 2027 season is wiped out. So we don't know. And I got a feeling baseball will have a bigger marketing problem if they do end up canceling games and they do cancel time. So we'll see what happens with that. Brief update here. It is now the bottom of the 8th inning. USA is up 2-1 still. And the Dominicans are challenging almost at.
Oh, we have lost Rozycki.
I think this is the part we were talking about with the weather.
We lost him. Well, here's the thing, Double A, as we try to get Rozycki back. The World Baseball Classic, there's still time left. There's a few games left, another semifinal game, I believe, tomorrow. And then you have the finals, Double A. Mm-hmm. So, you're still, if we sold you enough on the World Baseball Classic, then you can watch the rest of it, and you can at least enjoy the rest of it.
Like I said, you guys, in this 10 minutes that you talked about the WBC, which every time I say that, I still think of the boxing promotion. You guys have sold me on this more so than Major League Baseball. And that's the problem. I know this is where we talk about I'm shocked. I have the windows open because it's still 70-something degrees outside, but my curtains is going to blow off these lights here at some point before the end of the show.
That's crazy you say that because the other day when it was really picking up on Friday, the awning on the house was starting to just like it felt like it was about to just go crazy, like fly off. It didn't, thank goodness, but yeah, just absolutely crazy. Double A. I think we did lose Rob Rozycki. If you're just not joining us, this is the main event here on the Inside Edge Network. Gives us time here to remind you about one of our sponsors, Double A, which is, of course, our friend and your friend, Allie Rose Fragrance. AllieRoseFragrances.com is where you can go ahead and use the code InsideEdge20. That's capital I, capital E, InsideEdge20, all one word. Double A, I know you've taken advantage of this. Chad's taken advantage of this. A lot of people have taken advantage of the great deal, the great candles. Spring right around the corner. I know we've had these wind gusts, but it was pretty much 70 degrees dang near today. Spring's right around the corner. Get a candle lit. Get the aromas. If you got a loved one, get a body mist for them and get 20% off. I did the math on it. If you buy 5 candles, before tax, you get $20 off. That means, you're saving so much money. $20 off of 5 candles. Great deal. Great deal, Double A.
And I love David Reeves on Mike Check the other Friday night here, David and Autumn Fridays, 7 o'clock here on the Inside Edge Network. He's like, guys want to have homes that smell good too. you gotta have a candle that smells good. And yeah, that's true. I do have on order the spring collection of the candles. Now, when I ordered this, it was really warm outside, and maybe tomorrow you're going to want the Christmas candles again after all the weather and stuff. But no, these are great. And what makes these candles great as well, the competition, with the wax and stuff, it only gets like the center, the middle of it. It's not an even burn. The burn time is longer because Allie Rose uses the natural ingredients, and then the wax, it evens out. So you're getting all of the candle, not just a piece of it. So your money is well worth spent, and everything like that. So yeah, it all works itself out. Zeli just mentioned the promo code InsideEdge20, AllieRoseFragrances.com. That's where you want to spend, and get your candles and body mist, get all set and ready to go. You want your home smelling good at all times.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do this, Eli. Let's take a quick break while we try to get Rob back on, and then when we come back, we'll not only talk a little bit of free agency. I joked with you guys about we'll talk Shedeur because we'll play Jason Lloyd's comments. I joked with you guys because there's footage of Peyton Manning's son. His name is Marshall Manning, and I'm like, is he going to play for the Cleveland Browns in the 2030s? He was born, I believe, in 2011. Oh. So you do have to. Hey, I guess we don't have to burn that break. I think we're good to go.
Look at that. Look at that, pal. Well, you know what? Hey, with Robert Rozycki joining us. Oh, no, we may not have him, boy.
I don't know if we're here or not.
Oh, you're here. You're here.
We're here. We got you.
Hey, let's do this while Rob gets back in focus. I think he's ready to go, though. Let's play that Jason Lloyd clip. This is courtesy of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show talking about Shedeur Sanders.
If you just do that, why couldn't you do that and just play Shedeur then?
Here's the thing.
If the 27 was
here's the thing. This is the spot that I'm in, I think, with Shedeur, is I've talked to enough people and heard so much about him that's not very good. So what am I supposed to do with that? Am I supposed to play dumb and just come in here and be like, yeah, play the kid. Let's give it a shot. When you hear over and over and over again, doesn't really watch a ton of film. Had to kind of be shown how to watch film. Doesn't know when he's hot. Doesn't know what he's looking at in coverages. Am I supposed to ignore all that? No. So that's what leads me to some of the decisions that I've come to. And then when you look at the data, it is what it is. And he didn't play well. So people want me to just ignore all of that because, well, it's Shedeur, and it's a 5th-round pick. And, hey, if they hit on a 5th-round pick, it erases Deshaun. All of that is true. But when you're told things over and over and over by different people, it's not one person, it's different people all saying this, You just expect me to just ignore that?
No.
And not take it into account? So that's what's led me to this decision.
Yeah, that was courtesy of big play there, AA, and Jason Lloyd.
Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Thank you.
We're going to get the correct credit where it's due there.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, absolutely. All right, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show and Jason Lloyd. But AA, you talked about this on Midnight Run, and this was interesting. I think we're getting Rozycki back. This was interesting because you had some thoughts on Shedeur, and there's been a lot of conversation about Shedeur Sanders, it seems like, and I don't know. I may have differing opinions than both of you when it comes to him, but I feel like there's really, at this point, with everything the way it's mapped out, what else are the Browns positioning themselves for besides a potential quarterback battle between Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson?
Well, and that's where things get interesting because you do have to look at Deshaun. You invested too much. You know, I've joked on Midnight Run, like when you buy a Tesla that's loaded with issues from that Carfax gave you, and you still say I want a Tesla, even if it's a 2017 or 2018 Tesla, you're going to figure out if that Tesla you can run it. So that's kind of how they are with Deshaun Watson. But Shedeur, I think ultimately, I know Jason's in the building, and people do tell him this, and things have been very much up and down with Shedeur. But I've seen what Shedeur can do if you do have a lick of talent around him. Harold Fannin of Bowling Green. He can deliver the ball down the field. Jerry Jeudy, who has looked like trash with pretty much anybody else except Jameis Winston, looked halfway decent with Shedeur Sanders. I do believe you give him a full offseason, a full playbook, and a competent head coach who knows how to call an offense and a good offense. Shedeur has the physical tools, and I think in 2026, I think he has a legitimate potential to prove that he is a franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And if you ask me, is he going to be a franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? My answer would be yes.
And I lean towards that, AA. I even said before the show, I feel a lot better about the pairing of Todd Monken and Shedeur Sanders than I do about Robert Saleh and Cam Ward. And Cam Ward was the first overall pick. And I just feel like, yes, there were some flaws with Shedeur's game. Can he obviously improve? Yes. I mean, he's a rookie quarterback going into his second year. But to your point, what he did show with some of the weapons, Fannin, having Judkins in that backfield now, back next year, they're going to add, obviously, a receiver or maybe two, hopefully, in the draft. You would hope that that's enough to show that, yeah, this guy does have promise. I mean, he did show that. It's just when you're throwing to a very lackluster receiving core and all that, it's tough to really show. But I believe in Shedeur Sanders.
I'm not worried about the receivers. I mean, we've seen a lot of great quarterbacks turn normal guys into elite receivers. That can happen. What I like for whoever's going to be the quarterback right now is the offensive line help, because if you don't have time, it doesn't matter if you have Jerry Rice, Wes Welker, Randy Moss out there. You ain't going to do anything. So at least the Browns have given Shedeur, if it's going to be him, a chance to do something. I think, you bring up Judkins and Fannin and everybody like that. So, I think he's in a good spot. Whether or not he is, this is a cop-out. We don't know. We just don't know. I mean, with all the problems you guys just listed, with the lack of power on the offense, with the lack of offensive line, with Kevin Stefanski trying to call plays, Tommy Rees doing whatever he was doing, it wasn't a good situation. What I'm going to be looking for anything, and I think this is going to be directly parallel to what Shedeur is going to be doing development-wise. Is this a good situation for him to do this? Is this a good situation for him to learn? Is this, are we going to have this organization from the coaching staff and from the organization Are we going to have, capable guys that will be able to keep him on his feet when it comes down to the pass rush and stuff like that? I think that is the case, but that's why we are talking about Deshaun Watson right now. That's why we're lamenting not getting Tua Tagovailoa or Kyler Murray or anybody else right now. If we knew Shedeur was the guy, then we wouldn't be wanting all of the other guys. We don't know. That's the issue. And we might be able to say he could do it, he won't do it, whatever. He should, we can guess. But right now, it's up to the Browns to give Shedeur, or if it is going to be Deshaun, or if it is going to be Gabriel, for all we know. Whoever it is, it's going to be, they got to give them the best chance to succeed in the NFL. And I think they've done that. But with Shedeur, that's what this year is about. He's going to have to prove if he's the guy. We'll be able to answer that question at the end of the year. I think that'll be a very clear cut. Either he's going to get cut, either, they're going to figure out a new home for him, or they're not going to be looking for a quarterback in 2027. That's it. And it's up to Shedeur right now to figure that one out.
Well, the one thing they did do, I personally, he at least passed the Dylan Gabriel test. I will say that I do think, because if you're looking around,
last Joe and Punch Out, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
Mike Tyson's still about 7 rungs higher, man. Like we got to worry. Deshaun Watson might be a quality mid-level, mid-Carter here, but yeah.
Well, the one thing that you can give credit with Shedeur, like, okay, there is hope, right? And this is where you would compare to, honestly, anybody else who was under center for the Browns, whether it was Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, anybody else I missed, don't even worry about it. Shedeur, with an offense at different positions that were ranked near the bottom, unlike Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco, actually moved the ball down the field. It did come at a cost at times with some costly interceptions, but
no
his
risk,
ability,
no biscuit.
But at least his ability to drive the ball down the field with his receiving core is near the bottom. Offensive line was near the bottom in terms of blocking efficiency. The backfield was near the bottom, especially without Junkins, and the way Stefanski utilizes the backfield or didn't. Shedeur still beat Pittsburgh, still beat Cincinnati, still did all the things that he needed to do to move the offense down the field in an offense that struggled to score 17 points all season long.
The one thing I think we did dodge as Clevelanders here, Kevin Stefanski getting fired. That, obviously we all know, we talked about that when it happened. When the Falcons signed Tua Tagovailoa, Tua's getting paid $40-50 million from Miami. He's on one of those Russell Wilson kind of buyout deals. We're going to pay the league minimum and move on. Kyler Murray's getting that contract. What that means, though, is that the Browns could have afforded him if Kevin Stefanski was still the head coach. So I think him getting fired, we dodged the bullet of a quarterback room consisting of Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, and Tua.
Or Kyler Murray.
It would have been Tua. He's a perfect Stefanski quarterback. He's left-handed, which means no one else wants him. His noodle's scrambled, and he throws the ball about a quarter second after it's snapped to him. It would have happened. It would have absolutely. They would have tried to replace Shedeur with Tua this year. It would have been Shedeur or Tua.
So what you're saying, Rob, is that the Falcons did not win free agency this past offseason?
No, I don't think they did. And I don't like to say something about a free agent class or a draft class 10 seconds after it happened. But whenever you try to help out your quarterback room, who already has a guy with a double blown ACLs, a bad shoulder, a bad hip, and a couple of other season-ending injuries, the last thing you need to really do is bring in the quarterback who's already had the noodle scrambled up with also a bad hip and a bad shoulder. So I don't know what they're doing. I'm just I guess the winners in that one are Cleveland fans because we don't have to roll our eyes at what Kevin Stefanski wants to do in free agency anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think some winners that do stand out to me though. I mean, like the Raiders obviously got a big pickup with Tyler Linderbaum. I mean, that's a guy that obviously Browns fans wanted to get here. You know, with the ties with Baltimore. You know, the longtime center for the Ravens. I mean, them getting the centerpiece there for the line for Mendoza. Them really establishing that. Them getting Max Crosby back. I mean, they didn't expect to have Max Crosby, you know, for this week, and they have Max Crosby. So, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, and he seems bought back in Vegas. I mean, he loves the Raiders. He wanted to move on because he didn't see a chance to win. But him buying back in, it seems like he likes the moves that the Raiders have made so far in free agency.
Yeah, from what I understand, his relationship with the team was bad. It wasn't completely beyond any sort of, it was repairable. So,
yes.
Yeah, that is. I think that was the stunner of the whole thing. Even though that was centered around a trade, we can talk about Mike Evans going out to San Francisco. That was a big score, I think, for the Niners. The Browns, they did well in free agency too. I don't want to kind of count them out. The Steelers picked up, a couple of players on defense, and I think, by all accounts, the grades on them are pretty good too. So it looks like they've helped them out, and that's going to be a weird kind of thing in Pittsburgh for fans, and I'm dealing with it too firsthand. You've had the same coach for 18 years. You've done things basically the same way for 20 years. And now with McCarthy in there, I understand, Omar Khan is still the GM, but yeah, we got to redefine what the typical Steelers move is in the offseason now with the new coach. But yeah, it looks like there were a few teams that won. I got to give a gold star though to the Raiders, because all of a sudden having Max Crosby back on your books, magically at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, when you weren't really counting on it, when you were looking at the 2 first-round picks you were going to get for him, and you already spent, you mentioned Linderbaum, they spent money this free agent class. That could have, just by the nature of the numbers, messed that team up big time with their free agency and offensive, offseason plans. That really didn't seem to happen. I think they pulled some nice moves, basically being able to keep all of their guys and the Hall of Fame defensive end that they weren't counting on having. So, yeah, I mean, this might be the first time I've ever said this into a microphone or a camera, but the Raiders have had a pretty intelligent offseason so far.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to the definitely. Yep.
Don't worry,
they'll pick a punter in the first round. It'll be fine.
Rob, hold up, Rob. I thought your Wi-Fi went out again when you said intelligent and Raiders in the same sentence.
Yeah,
They'll pick up a fullback in the second round or something like that.
Yeah.
They'll go back to the Raiders eventually. I have faith.
I want to give a shout out too to the Patriots while we're just talking about winners and losers. Patriots picked up Romeo Doubs. I think that'll be a bigger signing as we see when the season starts up. A guy that can definitely compete for a wide receiver one role there with no Stephon Diggs there anymore. I think that's going to be interesting. So I think Romeo Doubs being picked up by New England, they went out and got definitely an improvement for the wide receiver room. And just a guy that seemed pretty beloved in Green Bay. So we'll keep an eye on there.
Well, my biggest winner or loser is the same team, and it's because of the same player. And we're going to find out if either they're going to win big or be demolished, and that's the Minnesota Vikings with Kyler Murray. Like, you bring him in, the expectation is he is the one that's going to be able to compete with Detroit and Green Bay and Chicago. Can Kyler Murray outplay all those quarterbacks in the NFC North? Now, he will be in the right environment, indoors, a faster track, a little bit more talent on the offensive side of the ball. But either it's going to really be a big bet. First off, he has to beat out J.J. McCarthy, which he should. But that's a big bet that the Vikings are taking. Is that going to work out for them to compete in the NFC North?
I think Kevin O'Connell is not going to be chasing that white whale after Darnold left. I think that's what this is now, is them trying to cover their butts and get back up to 14-3, what they were a couple of years ago, real quick. Because you let Sam Darnold walk out the building. Most NFL insiders were saying that it's not an overstatement to say Darnold winning the Super Bowl got the GM of the Vikings fired. And they're still trying to play, they're still in cover your ass mode. Kevin O'Connell, he is probably listening to the pundits that say he is the quarterback whisperer and can do it. So, I guess they're kind of betting on themselves and seeing what's happening. If I'm J.J. McCarthy in this mess, I'm a little pissed off because I'm looking around saying, dude, it's not my fault you guys pulled this complete 180 as a franchise in basically a year. I was hurt for a year. I came in, was hurt again for the year I actually did play. And I know it wasn't great, but for a top 10 quarterback, they're getting off that real quick. I mean, Josh Rosen would like a word with how fast they seem to be getting off of this one here. And for a quarterback that won a national title, that, should be okay enough. I'm a little surprised that that's the case in, with what's going on in Minnesota.
Absolutely. And I know we have to go to break here in just a moment. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about still on the show. I can't wait. But one other name and team to keep an eye on, we talked about it last week through primetime and Midnight Run, Kenneth Walker and the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City finally has that workhorse running back that they can rely on. They obviously let Pacheco walk, but they have a guy in Kenneth Walker that had his best season, his healthiest season. And I get it, Rozycki. Can he do it again? But I think he will. He's 25 years old, and I think this is going to be a home run signing for the Chiefs, who still have Tyreek Hill out there wandering around. And if they bring Tyreek Hill in, I just think this could be really a doomsday scenario for the AFC.
Well, well, first off, I wouldn't put Kansas City out of the Jeremiah Love sweepstakes quite yet. So it may not be just Kenneth Walker, but no disrespect to Kenneth Walker, but he just kind of has the vibe to me of a long list of Super Bowl MVPs that, had a good, year or so, but, got paid and then kind of just faded back into obscurity. So, I mean, hopefully for his sake, it'll work in Kansas City. He's in an offense that it should work. He is a lot, I know he, 1,000-yard rusher, but he seems to be a lot better at catching the ball out of the backfield. And that'll probably play into what Kansas City wants to do. But I think it was a nice move. I don't call it an earth-shattering. I don't call it a showstopper move, though. I don't put that. I think Mike Evans out in Frisco is probably a bigger offensive move than anything going on with what the running backs were doing.
I don't know. I just disagree. I think Kenneth Walker, I don't think he's ever been in obscurity. I think the only thing that stopped him a little bit is health issues earlier on, but he still has recorded 1,000-yard seasons. I mean, he's one of those bell cow backs. Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. The health was early on what stopped him, what derailed him. But he had his healthiest season last year, and I think as long as he can stay healthy, Kansas City's in for a very good year for Kenneth Walker. I mean, they've had success with Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, all these other names. Even Clyde Edwards-Helaire for a moment had some success in Kansas City. So to think Kenneth Walker, if he can stay healthy, won't have success. I hear you about Jeremiah Love, but I think the Chiefs are happy with Kenneth Walker. I think they're going to lean into that. I think this more so opens up the Caleb Downs market. And now the Browns, not to pivot to them for a moment, but just saying at 6, this could open up some more teams looking to maybe swing up from, that back end of the top 10 to 6 to get Caleb Downs. I think that market's starting to heat up a lot more.
I agree.
I was going to say I'm a little ticked off with that Kansas City move because, and New Orleans picked up a back too. Between those two teams, I was hoping that somebody was going to get desperate enough to trade up to 6 to make sure they got him. And I think with both of those moves, where I'm with you, I think that opens it up with Kansas City. But if Love is still, they don't have to trade up to get him at this rate. If he's still sitting at 9 and he's the best player on the board, then they're going to go for it.
Yeah,
but what they've done is given them some flexibility. And I think that's why I like the Browns moves in free agencies, because we're picking up basically an offensive line at a garage sale, and that's what they've done the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
You aren't locked into Finau at 6. You aren't locked into one of these big offensive lineman prospects at 6.
Yeah.
You can pick best available. If the receiver is still out there, if it is Caleb Downs, even, I know, again, defense is great, but defense can always get better. So you can pick best available a little bit more than you possibly could maybe a week ago. So Kansas City gave themselves options. The Browns gave themselves options. And I think that's, in modern NFL, that's what you're looking at. One guy, we see it happen all the time. Knee injuries happen, Achilles pop, elbows and shoulders go away. That can happen with no notice whatsoever. The good teams give themselves flexibility and give themselves options and give themselves depth. And I think more than anything, that's what the Browns did. And, Kansas City obviously doing the same thing, even though they're kind of at different spots on the calendar for, these given teams. Kansas City more in a win now mode. But yes, this is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We got AA Anthony Alford. We have Eli Moon, and we have myself, Rob Rozycki. How you doing? I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. But yes, we do have a laundry list of sponsors. We have a lot more members of the family here with the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We do have Dubby Energy as a brand new sponsor, and AA I think it's appropriate that you do Dubby Energy. So
I have to. Dubby has been great for us on the Side Hustle podcast, and now here with us on the Inside Edge Network. Let me tell you, all three of us and all of you watching, if you are up right now at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, what the hell is wrong with you? You have the energy. I mean, you got to get going with your day. We all have so much to do, and we rely on energy drinks, but the problem with the unhealthy energy drinks, the crash factor, and we just don't have time to crash. Dubby Energy is the place to be. The website is dubby.gg, and this is why it's great. Clean energy, bold flavors, no jitters either. You're going to see why people are not shutting up about Dubby. Helps you lock in and focus. There are a ton of flavors, over 15 flavors to choose from. I have mine already in order, because when you get it, all you got to do is dub a little bit of the Dubby Energy powder. See, there it is right there. See, you got to be one of the cool kids there. And it's all healthy, with great names too. Pushing Punch, got the Dragonade there. One of my favorites, actually, and we got to get it up there, the Blue Ras flavor. It's phenomenal. And all you need is a cup or a water bottle. You just dub one of those in and you fill the rest with water. You mix it and you consume it. You're good for the day. So whether you're starting your work day, whether you're heading to the gym, whether you're heading into News Radio WTAM 1100 to do a shift, or you're heading into the recording studio to record the sequel to The Golden Child, Dubby Energy is what you need to succeed. Again, dubby.gg. Use the promo code InsideEdge10. That's InsideEdge10. You get 10% off of your order. These are already affordable, so get a discount. Get some energy drinks for yourself and for your friends and family, and you'll be ready to go. And again, the crash, it won't happen when you have Dubby Energy.
And one thing that takes away the crash factor, and this is always something that I have to research, and I'm sure we have more than a few listeners that have the same kind of restrictions that I do, it is completely sugar-free. So, they use different sweeteners, they do different things. So if you are a member of the Wilford Brimley fan club like myself and you got the diabetes, don't fret. Dubby is there for you, and that will help you out no problem at all. I know that is a big, big deal. Even if you're not diabetic, you want to take the sugar out of your diet, especially needless sugar. If I'm going to have sugar, it's going to be chocolate. It's going to be amazing desserts. It's not going to be in an energy drink. So that Dubby Energy, Dubby.gg. And again, use code InsideEdge10. And we'll help you out with your first purchase over there. But this is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We got AA in the middle. We got Eli flanking him. I'm on the other side, Rob Rozycki. And we'll take a quick break. This will be our second one. We'll have the final act of the show. Apparently, these guys have some stuff to school me on the magical world of Disney. I am going there apparently. Not apparently, we're leaving on Friday. So, yeah, that is
There ain't no apparent about that, Rozycki.
Assuming I don't get deported in the next 6 days, we will be going to Disney. So yes, they want to educate me on that one here. We got a few news and notes, maybe, and then I think this last segment is going to take some twists and turns, and we'll figure out where it goes together. Again, for AA Anthony Alford, Eli Moon, I am Rob Rozycki. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network, and we will be back. It has gone final. The United States is going to the finals of the World Baseball Classic, edging the Dominican Republic 2-1 in an epic instant classic. I'm sure you'll be able to catch all the highlights and lowlights and everything in between on Twitter as we speak. So, yes, congratulations to the United States. They're moving on. Thank God we are going to the finals in the sport we created. That would have been a little bit of a thing. But yes, here we are. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I am Rob Rozycki. We got Eli Moon. We have Anthony Alford. And this is the final segment, gentlemen. So where do we want to start this thing? I got the impression that I wasn't really in too much in control, despite the fact that I kind of lead this thing for this last segment. What is going on, gentlemen?
Well, before we get to the fun stuff, Eli, we do have something we want to share with our audience as well, with one of our newest network sponsors.
Yes, we sure do. Absolutely. We have some photography here from Monster Photography. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the you're going to have Rozycki and me on here, but look at some of these photos, Double A. You want to go ahead and tell the people about our buddy Ryan Monster and the family business of Monster Photography?
Yeah, it's our own Inside Network, Ryan Monster, his wife, Holly Monster, for over 10 years. The past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond. They're a two-person team, husband and wife, two-person team. They focus on emotional storytelling. They document the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. It is rooted here in Northern Ohio, but inspired by their travels. Ryan and Holly bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. So, they do a phenomenal job with this. Their website, monstermomentsphotography.com. Again, right, he's our own here at the Inside Edge Network. This is, I know we joke sometimes like, oh, this is their real thing. And what they do is just incredible. That's just some of the photos you can see. Go ahead and check out their website. And, again, 10 years strong, the best photography, capturing moments, not just with the couple, but everyone involved. All of our great moments should be reflected upon, and Ryan and Holly, they do a great job with that.
So what you're saying is that even if you are in a shotgun wedding, you are in a loveless marriage, you are in a situation you do not want to be in, you get Monster Moments ready to go, you get the photography ready to go, and even they will make you look in love and fool the world that, yes, you are not in a situation you don't want to be in. You are not, again, in that shotgun wedding. You are not worried about a due date. You are not worried about any sort of things happening. They will be there, and they will make even the most loveless of marriages. J.D. Vance, they will make his marriage look happy.
MonsterMomentsPhotography.com. All right, that's our guy, dude. I got the dude, Ryan Monster, man. They do a great job on the Sunday Sports Show. I got to join the Sunday Sports Show earlier. I know we've had some programming with the wind and everything, just taking out power. But I got to join last weekend on Sunday Sports Show with Ryan Monster, Chad Bryan, and TK Dandridge. I had a great time talking Cavs Celtics. Cavs didn't have a great time that day, and we talked about it after. But Double, you got a smile on your face. Are you smiling because we have the worst? Or you have the worst ranking of Disney parks I've ever seen in my life, ever.
Well, quick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. You're good.
Before we get to Double A's moments here, I do want to talk at least a little sports to call this a sports segment here. We alluded to a couple of these things that happened. The Max Crosby trade, the World Baseball Classic drama. And then the other thing that I'm going to talk about, too, is Bam Adebayo's 83-point game, which we can save the hot takes if you want. We can do them, whatever. I don't care. But that all happened. I think we got the Crosby notification around 5 after 8. The World Baseball Classic, the Team USA was down 1-0, down 2-0, down 4-0, down 6-0, down 8-0. This was past a 16 seed being up 7-2 in the first 9 minutes of the game. it was getting serious. And they ended up losing the game 8-4. I think it was 8-6 ended up being the final. But that all happened within about 90 minutes of each other. That was one of the crazier 2-hour stretches in sports that didn't involve any sort of on-field NFL action anyway. It was the World Baseball Classic. It was the NBA. It was, we had a little NFL offseason news for sure. But all of that stuff was just nuts within 2 hours of each other. For guys who are in our business, for just sports fans in general, that's why you watch this stuff. That's, like I've said it before, I'll say it 1,000 more times. No disrespect to the Real Housewives of whatever county. No disrespect to Survivor or Big Brother, or any of the big reality TV shows out there. Sports is the best reality TV. It's the oldest form of it. It's been around for 70 years, and you get the thrill of victory. You get the agony of defeat. You get people stabbing each other in the backs. You get, people being offended. You get people being celebratory. You get every bit of it. And we got all of it in about 90 minutes on Tuesday night. And it was kind of a sight to be seen.
Yeah. We did. And Jaylen Brown being in there as well, him getting tossed from the Celtics Spurs game on Tuesday night as well. Rob, I do want to hear, because Eli and I, we talked about it extensively on our shows here on the network. Just to sum of on Bam, just to sum of my thoughts, it was, listen, you have an opportunity to score 83 points, you go take it, cool, great. And the Heat, hey, you're gonna look out for your boy. You're gonna do whatever it takes. I place full blame on the Wizards for being that terrible, and I think things need to be looked at, because you're looking at tanking in a much more significant light on the way the Wizards played overall that night. What did you think about that?
Well, I was going to say, if you're going to be mad at anybody, be mad at the Wizards. I'm not going to be mad at Bam for walking through an open door, which is what their defense was. They had no Anthony Davis, no Trae Young. There was no D'Angelo Russell in there. I think they were missing their top four. CJ Edgecombe, I think, was the other one in there. They were missing their top four scorers, and they clearly had nobody defensively that could handle Bam. And it was just kind of a perfect storm. Miami was down a couple of scorers themselves. I don't think Norman Powell or Tyler Hero played. So, yeah, you had a guy that was basically unstoppable with his size and his bag with his game. And you had a coach look at him and say, you got to shoulder the load. There's nobody here that's going to put the ball in the hole besides you. And here we go. And anybody who gets mad at, it was all foul shots at the end of the game. There was, it was just an atrocious form of basketball. Kobe's 81-point game, he took the last 24 shots. So, I mean, Kobe was chasing for it too. Kobe was putting the, Mamba mentality is you get the record. It doesn't matter how you do it. You get the win. You get you get the deal. So I think to honor Kobe, Bam had a little Mamba mentality. And I think it's now kind of amazing that if you take out Wilt and you just kind of count Bam's as 83 as the number one in NBA history, you have the top scorer in NBA history and the top scorer in WNBA history in a serious relationship together. So, you got Bam in Asia, and looks like they're going to be fighting for the career highs now. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's a regular season game. Get mad at the Wizards for tanking. Don't get mad at Miami for taking advantage of it.
Eli, you agree with that?
No. I don't. I don't. But we don't have enough time. Rozycki shot 43 free throws. And I get he was saying stop fouling, but the teammates kept fouling. I mean, it was asinine. I mean, he was nowhere near the record. He shouldn't even been in the game with less than 2 minutes ago. It was a 20-point, 30-point game. It should not have been in the game. I mean, it's disrespectful to guys like Donovan, who scored over 70 points, 71, I believe, in a game where he actually had to score 71 to go out there and score. Double-A touchdown on that midnight run this past week. If it was they needed, and Chad actually did a great job on Primetime talking about this. If it was needed, this was the Bam game where 83 and they won, and it was a historic game. It was historic, but for all the wrong reasons. People are going to laugh at this or make fun of Bam, make fun of the moment because it was not in a game that really mattered. It was against the Washington Wizards, and his team was actively fouling while they were up by 20 points. I mean, it's stuff like this that gives the NBA a bad look, and then people are like, well, this is why I don't take the regular season serious. It's stuff like this.
Why is that any of
frustrating.
Miami or Bam's fault? That's all Washington's problem.
Miami fouled Washington, was fouling Washington to give an opportunity to get them the ball back. They should have let the clock run out. It's under 2 minutes, and Bam's in the game. Why is your starting center in the game up by 20 against the Washington Wizards? We all know NBA code, NBA etiquette is you're out of the game with less than 2 minutes left if you're up by 20. So I just think it was
NBA
a bad
etiquette
look.
also says, and athletic etiquette also says that you should be trying to win the game the entire time.
That wasn't trying to win a game. That was trying to win a
etiquette. They had a lot
that
more
was-
violations of NBA etiquette sitting their top
Rozycki.
4 scorers.
That was
than
trying to win
Bam.
that was trying to win a record. That was not trying to win a
I
basketball
don't
game.
mind that.
The
though.
basketball
I think
game was already
that's-
won.
I think it's a good way to curb tanking. If you're one of these teams, like, because the Wizards actually have the Cavs to finish the season. Game 82, folks, is going to be in Cleveland. We got the Wizards playing. James Harden, you better hit 80, because I don't mind this. If you want to tank, that's fine. If you want to purposely lose games, that's fine. But the teams who are trying to win will show no pity in your abject humiliation. The teams who are trying to play big boy basketball will make you look like a 7th grader on the court if you try to lose. You will lose, you will get your draft pick, but you will be absolutely humiliated.
It's not even about the team winning or
fine with
losing.
that.
But it's not about the team winning or losing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points in a meaningless March game that they were up by 20 points, and now he is sitting second all
We're
the
talking
time.
about a team that was playing that's in the playoff run that, by the way, with that win, secured or got into the 6th spot. We're talking about a team that is still playing for something, that saw a wounded animal by the side of the road and did everything they could to just maim that carcass as much as possible.
I
They
disagree.
saw an opportunity. If you know what, you don't want 83 points, then put a better lineup out there and play better.
I just disagree. I mean, and even Bam, you can see it in the video. He's even telling them to stop fouling. He shouldn't have been in that game. I disagree.
You know,
Just
it
tell the
happens.
Wizards to stop sucking, though. I do.
Yeah,
think
I
the
agree.
Wizards have had a big part in that, though.
They did, but he should have never
You don't
been in
want
that
the full
game.
ran up, play better.
He should have never been in that game, though. There's just things.
If
Like
they played
etiquette.
better, midway through the 4th quarter, he might have had 63 points instead of 71, and they might not have kept him in the last 5 minutes to chase a record that he would have otherwise had no chance in getting.
I wish we had the video because sorry, Double A, but I wish we had the video because during prime time we played how the NBA players and everybody around the league felt about it, and they even think it's a joke. So obviously, I'm not the only one that feels that way. Everybody, a lot of NBA players, people around the league, well-respected people around the league, don't care for this. There's a difference between a team beating that. They can beat them. They're up by 20, 30 points. They don't need their starting center in the game. That was chasing a record in a game that nobody's going to remember except for because they were fouling with under 2 minutes.
I disagree. I think in
luck.
10 years, I think when we talk about Bam's 83-point game, I think your average NBA fan won't remember how he got there.
I don't think it'll even be remembered. People have to remember who had second. I think people are
And
going to
by
still
the way,
talk
you
about
said-
Kobe's 81 over Bam's 83 still to this day.
You said 43 free throws. You also took 43 field goals, 2s and 3s.
Correct.
I would like, if we have the technology to put you on a free throw line with nobody in your face, with nobody trying to guard you, and have you put up 83 shots in 48 minutes, in an hour and a half. We'll call it 2 hours. That's an NBA game. Put up that many shots and see how hard that is, even if nobody's guarding it. I mean, I know we're knocking the hideous amount of free throw attempts, but 83 or 86 shots in a game, that's still a lot of work, and they still got to go in, dude. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Play better.
We're just going to disagree on this one.
yeah, and that's.
Yeah, bad look.
Hold on, I'm gonna load something in right
Well,
now.
hold on. What is a worse look? Is the 83 a worse look, or is the massive tanking a worse look?
The whole thing's a bad look. Like I said, I don't disagree that the Wizards aren't looking bad in this. I just think the Heat. If we're arguing that the Miami Heat were going to lose that game if Bam Adebayo wasn't in there with the last 2 minutes, then we're all fooling ourselves and we're playing dumb. We all know the Heat were going to win that game. You don't play for points differential for the most part when it's coming down to the 6 and 7 seed. And the Miami Heat have been a perennial play-in team for the last 3, 4, 5 seasons. So this isn't a team we're talking about making a playoff championship run. They could have won that game. That I think the whole thing's a bad look. The 83, now overtaking Kobe's record, or, the second place record that is, because Will has the record. But then Kobe at 81 with the modern day record, and then you see the Wizards tanking. It's all bad. It's all bad look.
By the way, is there any other sports record that it is so impressive we just ignore? We're like, yeah, the 100. Okay, yeah, we understand he had the 100, but for all intents and purposes, everything else is we just don't count that. We don't look at Cy Young and say, yeah, you got 511 wins. We're just not going to count that, or any of these old school big time records. I think it's just generally assumed that there will be no NBA player that will ever hit 100 points in a game.
Yeah. I mean, 83. I mean, and they had the foul with under 2 minutes to go and get them back to the line about 4 or 5 different times. So, we'll see.
Now, would you have felt different if everything played out the way it did, and when Bam hit the free throw for 81 to tie? If they would have taken him out then?
No,
No?
because they sent him to the line, I think, twice after. I think he had like 77 or 79 points. He sent him to the line like 2 different times. I just didn't care for it.
Well, his last 4
it.
points is all I'm saying were free throws. Like, they could have taken him out after.
I don't care for it. I just don't care for the whole thing. I think it could have, it disrespects the guys that went out and did it in a cool manner. 71 by Donovan was way cooler than 83 by Bam. That's what I'll stand by.
The last thing I'll add, I wonder if there's a way that we can get a signed Kobe Bryant 81-point jersey, if that's possible.
Well, I don't think he's signing any new ones.
But what if he signed something in the past? I couldn't load the photo in. It wouldn't let me load the photo in. But it is very possible that we could do that, Eli.
Yeah,
there is a website you can go to.
Yes,
there's a new sponsor that can do that.
Yes.
Oh, now I see what you're doing. Okay.
Yes.
Wondering where the hell you were going with that one.
I am so glad you guys asked. And Rozycki, I know you do the sports cards and everything. We can look at that, but let's take a blast from the past sometimes and go to sportsmemorabilia.com. You want to look at all the different options they have. You talked about WWE earlier. I mean, I'm looking at some of these names. Look at this. Drew McIntyre, the former WWE champion. Jimmy Hart, the mouth of the South. Then you go over here to soccer.
My TV right now.
Hey, look at that. Then you look at here.
1985, but it's still Jimmy Hart.
You got soccer, Austin FC, LA Galaxy, FC Cincinnati. You go to the NHL. You got some of your beloved teams, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Montreal Canadiens, the Nashville Predators. You look at the Cavs in the NBA. I mean, there's so many cool game-used jerseys, balls and pucks, cleats and shoes, equipment. I mean, all these. And then, of course, you go to the new arrivals section, AA. The new arrivals section, now, not to be skipped over, it's a trading card section, which, of course, boxes and sets are single cards. But the new arrivals, looking here right now, you got a Tyler Kolek game-used jersey right here. You have Karl Anthony Towns game-used jersey. These are some big-ticket items, but something that could be yours in your household. It was game worn. Karl Anthony Towns, in a year where the Knicks are playing good basketball, we're worried about him here in Cleveland. Those are some of the new arrivals there. Sportsmemorabilia.com, one of the newest sponsors of the Inside Edge Network, and a site that I will definitely be looking at quite a bit because I love some sports jerseys. And you know what, Rozycki? I got to start getting my card collection out. Look at that. Sportsmemorabilia.com, newest sponsor of Inside Edge Network.
Also got Junior Caminero, who former Guardians prospect, who was a World Baseball Classic hero here.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Dude, yeah, I got to check that out because obviously that's right up my alley. And, I can probably augment the office with a few things. I'm looking for actually a Bill Laimbeer jersey. I got to find something along that line.
Oh, you got to make that happen.
Yes. If you're an unathletic Caucasian NBA player, you have a soft spot in my heart for sure. But yeah, this is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I am Rob Rozycki. We got AA Anthony Alford. We have Eli Moon. I think we have talked enough sports now to let the floodgates open. So apparently, well, it's not. I am going to Disney World, but apparently, you guys are reacting to this in a way that I am, quite frankly, a little surprised. So what's going on here?
Yeah,
Going to the happiest place on earth, which, by the way, I was very heartbroken when I found out the happiest place on earth, not Cooperstown. Who knew?
So, upon our conversations with you, Rob, it has come to our attention that while you're extremely excited to go to Disney World, and
Yes,
you better be excited. This is fun stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. You and Nikki are going to have a great time.
Or dreams come true, Double A.
Eli and I truly believe you are not prepared for what's about to occur to you this upcoming weekend at Disney.
Are you ready for Mickey Mouse pancakes in the morning? Are you ready for Mickey Mouse ears? Are you ready? Are you ready for the Magic Kingdom and for the fireworks at night? Rozycki, I know you've been to, I get it. You've been to Disney before. It was 25 years ago. Rozycki, I was like 3 or 4 years old the last time you went to Disney. A lot has changed, okay? So think about this. Me and Double A, we are great friends of yours. We've known you for 10 years. We would not send you into a trip ill-prepared, unprepared. We would never do that to you, bro. Never.
Okay.
So we prepared these lists, okay? These are the
by the way,
top...
I've gotten 3 packs of Topps cards, and I now have 3 Jose Ramirez cards.
Well, here's the good news.
Sorry, I'm back. Yes.
You could take one of those Jose Ramirez cards and put them in the best park at Disney, which is what me and Double A have been reviewing. We've been really reviewing our resumes, seeing, like, obviously we've both been to Disney before, so recently, so we have obviously experience. So we put together our top 4 parks of Disney World, just for anybody out there just wondering what's going on. And Double A and me, we Double A and I, shall I say, we had a pre-show meeting. Thank you. We had a pre-show meeting before Rob got into the pre-show meeting. We were like, look, real quick, what's your list looking like? And he's like, I have this at number 4. And I'm like, number 4? I have that at number 1. So this could get a little dicey, but at the end of this, you could choose whoever you feel has a better Disney list.
Now, Eli, before you reveal your list, Rob, you and Nikki are going to 3 of the 4 parks, correct?
Yes, we are going. We are going to. I believe we are leading off with Epcot. We are then going to the Animal Kingdom, and then we finish off everything in the Magic Kingdom. So, yes, I have already been informed that we will be wrapping up our night at about 10:30 with fireworks on Wednesday night. So, yes,
I love it. All right, well, here I'll try my best here to give my list. Now, granted, Double A's been to Disney a little bit more recently than I have. My more trips have been to Universal recently, but I have seen Disney. Yeah, I went to Universal, but I will say I have enough recollection of Disney to tell you this is my list of the top 4 Disney parks in order. I'm gonna say number 4, Rozycki. Now this is gonna go. Now, if you were asking younger Eli, this probably would be number 3. But it falls to number 4 here as adult Eli, and that's Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom falls to number 4. Look, if you want Animal Kingdom, you have it. It's the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. If you want the roller coasters, you go to Cedar Point. Animal Kingdom.
Are you out of your mind?
Animal Kingdom is mixed with the zoo and Cedar Point. And Double A, we have both those things here in Ohio. Animal Kingdom's cool. There are some cool rides. The Everest ride is pretty sick. It's got a nice, like, whoa, drop. But, like, besides that, Animal Kingdom, it's okay. It's number 4. But number 3 in, teenager Eli is mine. Number 3, Rozycki, is Epcot. I love Epcot.
That's what I'm most excited to go to, actually.
Epcot I like a lot, and like I said, this is just because younger Eli experienced this, so adult Eli can't really give you too much vouch on Epcot, but I think I'd appreciate this a lot more, the different countries. I don't drink, but just walking around experiencing the different countries, the big
It will be
sphere.
nice to actually be able to drink for Disney. I was not old enough to do that the last time. So
Exactly. So look at that, and then you have the big sphere, you like ride around this big golf ball looking thing. I mean, there's some cool things, man. So I like Epcot. Then you got number 2, which is the classic, which is Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom, I mean, how could you not enjoy the kingdom, the castle? How could you not enjoy all of these different experiences, the teacups and all of these? I mean, it is the happiest place on earth. You get your Mickey ears. You're
I
in
think
the
we got
parade.
Space Mountain and Pirates of the Caribbean going.
It
for
is
that.
so many amazing things there, Rozycki. You're gonna have a great time at Magic Kingdom. But number 1 on the list, and I know you're only, and you picked
The one I'm
3
not
great
going for.
parks. Yes. And you picked 3 great parks, and I know you and Nikki did a great job. But I would say number 1 in Eli Moon's heart and soul is Hollywood Studios. I mean, just alone, the elevator ride, I cannot think of the name
Tower
of
of Terror?
The Tower of Terror. Thank you. It would just,
I've been on that one.
it freaked me out. I get scared with stuff like that, but I just remembered going on that ride and being like, wow, that was a core memory. And just like the experience, Hollywood Studios just had some of my favorite rides. The vibes were there. And yeah, for me, I think Hollywood Studios is at the top of the list. Number 1 on my list of top 4 Disney parks, Hollywood Studios, AA. Why do you look so confused?
See, the reason that I think we triaged it, we had 3 days, we could only pick the 3 parks. I'm not exactly Star Wars guy. Like, I've watched the movies, I don't hate them or anything like that, but I'm not a hardcore fan. And from everything we see about Hollywood Studios, it's a big Star Wars situation. So that was not that we would turn it down if we had a 4th day, but yeah, I think that was kind of why we just shied away from it and went with the other 3.
I respect it. I respect it.
I don't think I've ever said this in both runs of this show. Don't listen to Eli. Don't even bother.
Oh, no.
Starting with the fact, Animal Kingdom is just like the Metro parks here. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
There's animals and there's rides. It's a Cedar Point mixed with the zoo.
Wow.
Okay,
right.
I will say this. Real quick before you get to your list. Animal Kingdom is cool because of the Circle of Life, the Tree of Life, and the Bugs Life stuff. That's cool. There you go.
Bet they have that at Cedar Point too.
I will tell Nikki actually that, and she is a big fan of both, that you called the Animal Kingdom the Cleveland Zoo. So yeah.
Yeah, please share that with her. But like automatic, I turn my brain off when I don't do. All right, here we go. Here we go.
Well, I'll text while you're doing that. Yeah.
All right, number 4 is the park that you're not going to, Hollywood Studios.
Oh,
And you kind of already laid out. Listen, the theming is fine. Like, it's actually really not. The theming is great. But you kind of already laid it out. Like, that's mostly a Star Wars thing. I mean, I don't compare it to the other 3 parks. Hollywood Studios doesn't offer as much as the other 3 parks. It just doesn't. So, in my opinion,
Honestly, Moon said the only thing that I was really wanting to do there when that was the Tower of Terror. But yeah, if it's just one thing, then I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, you'll be perfectly fine. You picked the one park not to go to. You picked the correct one. All right. Number 3. Animal Kingdom is phenomenal. I'll put Animal Kingdom at number 3, but it's like really close. Like 2 and 3 are really close. Animal Kingdom is not just like the Metro parks. Don't. Eli will probably never be invited back to your home ever again after those comments.
No. We all got along last time. We all kicked in a Casa de Rob.
First of all, without giving it away, the animals you will see at Animal Kingdom, you can't find up here. The level of experiences that you will have with the animals around are great. In fact, the little trail that you're going to potentially be on, I forgot the name of it, but it's a lot of cool stuff. And they got there's some big eggs too. But Animal Kingdom's phenomenal. And then the Circle of Life. It's just there. No, the Circle of Life is fantastic. It's a lot of great stuff there. You're going to enjoy your Animal Kingdom day. Number 2, Epcot. The listen, they have everything you need in terms of first off Ratatouille. You better start your day at Ratatouille.
I don't think we're starting it there. I think Nikki has something booked a little later in the day. So
Okay.
yeah, we definitely fast passed it. It's in stone.
If as long as you have a fast pass to Ratatouille, you will be happy. Ratatouille is fantastic. It's good stuff. Of course, the theming is fantastic. I will listen to, the space ball, whatever that's great. Mania says a little older. Hopefully they kind of fixed it up a little bit since I was there in 2023.
Tell you how long it was since the first time I went there. When I went there as a kid, I don't think Epcot was 10 years old. Like it was all still like brand new. So yeah, I mean it's been around for a while.
Double A, are you seriously telling me your number one is like dude? Disney would love you after the freaking Super Bowl. You'd be like, I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to Magic Kingdom.
Yes, Magic Kingdom is number one for a few reasons. Yes,
okay.
The cheesy reasons. I get that. I understand.
You're talking about Magic Kingdom, not Magic City, right?
Get back to me after the show.
Or is that the happiest place?
Magic Kingdom's number one. There's a reason why you end with Magic Kingdom. Of course, yes, the traditional. You got to take the picture in front of the castle, and you have a parade and stuff like that. And you end with fireworks. Oh, Epcot, by the way, has great fireworks too. But you end with fire. But Magic Kingdom has Space Mountain.
Yeah.
So all you'll be thinking about is Ric Flair while you're on Space Mountain.
Mm-hmm. Oldest park in the ride with the longest line, baby.
And I had to check just to make sure, but the best ride there, all kidding aside, the best ride there is Tron. I hope you got Fast Pass for Tron.
I'm hearing good things. I'll talk to Nikki. I'll ask too if there's any sort of, if we can make an addendum if it's not there, because I've been hearing a lot of great things about Tron.
Tron is phenomenal. Find a way to get on Tron. Even the setup. I know you wait in the line and stuff. Going inside, the lobby setup is great. It tells a story. It tells a great story. And then you finally get on, and it's fantastic. Tron was probably my favorite experience of Disney World when we went in 2023.
Okay.
For those reasons, on top of it's corny, you got the castle. The Magic Kingdom's number one. Magic Kingdom simply has everything.
I mean, your list.
It's the OG too.
Yeah, your list was all right, Double A. You didn't have a bad list.
I think what it comes down to, and again, Disney is obviously not a sponsor. They have a lot of going on in the sports content business as it is. But I'll say this, even though they're not paying us, the way I'm looking at Disney is everything is going to be 5-star. Everything is going to be perfect. Everything is going to be wonderful. So even if it isn't my number one favorite park out of the 4, I'm still going to have a damn good time. So
yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to have my preferences, but at the same time, I don't think I'll be like ever walking out of one of those parks going, wow, that was shit.
Now, you will not sleep. You will barely probably spend any time in your hotel room. You shouldn't. Really your hotel room is just a place to sleep and shop.
Just lodging for the night or for the few hours that you have. I mean, you're not going to get much sleep.
You guys are actually going at a great time here in mid-March because the weather's not going to be too terrible. Now, I went in mid-May where I did not know, guys, and Rob, I know you have family in Florida. You've been to Florida. I did not know about the Florida humidity. I had no idea. I had no idea about the Florida humidity, and that's.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can. I think.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
No.
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear him. I think we lost Rozycki though. Oh. We talk too much Disney.
I know Disney got in the servers after your terrible list.
Oh, my list?
Yeah. What kind of list was that?
My list. Dude. The best list of all time, bro.
How you gonna say that about Animal Kingdom?
It's cool. It is cool. It is cool.
How you gonna hold up? We gonna discuss this before he comes back. How you gonna say that about Animal Kingdom? That they just have animals, just like Cedar Point. Like
what else do they have? What else do they have?
It's Animal Kingdom. They have animals and rides and stuff.
Yeah, but if you merge the zoo and Cedar Point, you basically have Animal Kingdom, except for the difference of animals.
That's like saying like every pet store is the same. Like, no, it's not. Like, it's not.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
Like, no, it's not. It's not the same. I look. Listen, I get it though. You know, but I gotta tell Rob when he gets back online here. Like, listen, when we were at Disney World, we got out of those dorm or hotels at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and it felt like I was going to 2-a-days, like with football camp, because it's just like that Florida heat. I was going to tell them until the Wi-Fi dropped. That Florida heat, it just hits you. It's like, oh man, it's like, it's like CJ and San Andreas. Like, here we go again.
You're like so excited to get inside the AC conditioned like ride areas. You're like, okay, I'm inside now. I don't care about waiting because I can be in AC for a minute. So I think we have Rozycki back. I'm gonna try. Should we try to bring him back? You think?
Give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
All right, let's try to bring him back. Rozycki, are you back with us? Can you hear us? He cannot hear us. He is not. He's not back with us. All right, Double A. I don't. What do we got from here, pal? We got.
I hope. Listen. The Disney stuff is great. I hope he'll be ready to go. All kidding aside, I'm very happy. Rob's in a great place. Congrats to Rob and Nikki, 2-year anniversary. I'm assuming the Disney trip's an anniversary gift. So great for him. Great for both of them. And you'll be in San Antonio.
Yes.
We do have one other thing we can get to real quick. And you know what? Let's do this. Let's take one more break.
Yes.
See if we can get Rob back on. And then by that point, we should have a winner of Best Picture from the Oscars. And the reason why I bring that up, it's a slice of life show kind of deal. I was thinking about this while I was working out today. What is our favorite movie ever that has won Best Picture? And Rob added, give us a favorite movie that was nominated but was snubbed of Best Picture. So I think let's hit that. Let's do a bonus segment here where we come back and just do that while we get Rob back on. And because I know Rob has some thoughts on the snubs, because I could tell from the tone of this conversation that it kind of hit home, it kind of hit hard on him. So let's do one more final segment when we come back. We'll try to get Rob on, and I'll try to get the Oscar. What the hell is FS1 playing? All right, we'll take a break, come back. One more segment, main event after this.
NCAA. Welcome back to the main event, everybody. We have Rob Rozycki back. I was gonna bring you on like a little impromptu, like hey, we got him back. All right, this is the main event. That's Rob Rozycki. He's back.
And you saw my hands, like while I was doing all that stuff. When I went out here, have you ever been looking at a computer, talking to a computer? And I know we have our like StreamYard microphone problems here at points. The computer, my volume at the corner, just muted for no reason.
Oh no! Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Like, not touching anything. Like computers this far away. Like, yeah, just had to happen.
Well, the good news is, Rob, we waited for you to talk about the Academy Awards before we got out of here.
Oh, PG.
So, yes, we waited for you.
Well, yeah, we had the Academy Awards. I think that actually just wrapped up a few minutes ago. Looks like we do have a small upset with Best Picture. I know Sinners was being talked about as the greatest piece of cinema ever produced by this country or by the world in general, but it looks like it's one battle after another. That one took home the Best Picture. Honestly, I don't know it well. It stars DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Tiana Taylor. Is a black comedy. Paul Thomas Anderson also picked up the Best Director Oscar for it too. So, yeah, it looks like that is going to be your best, picture, winner for the Oscars. And I think we might have a debate a little bit further on throughout history of Sinners being on a list of Oscar movies that got snubbed. And I know there's a long list of those, but yeah, it looks like, no Michael B. Jordan, Best Actor, no Sinners, Best Picture. So people are going to be bitching.
I just have, again, for me, because I was joking among the network, I'm like, man, wish we could do an Oscars pre-show. The problem is I don't know anything about movies because none of my favorite movies are ever nominated or they win or anything like that. So this is another one where it's like, wait a minute, where did this come from? But it hits all the metrics and it somehow wins Best Picture. I'm trying to think back to the last time Best Picture actually meant the best movie, the best picture of the year in the eyes of the general public. And there are very few examples I can point out in the last decade plus.
Yeah, it's movie theaters and me, we have not been a reoccurring theme. I've been to movie theaters maybe like twice in the last 3 years. The last movie I think I've seen in theaters was the Bob Dylan movie, which was awesome with Timothy Chalamet. Yeah, I mean, I saw that with Timothy Chalamet, and that was really cool. But I mean, besides that, I haven't really seen too many movies. Iron Claw, that was really good. But yeah, this is the one where like I'm kind of checked out in terms of like I love movies, but like also look, The Blind Side was one of my favorite movies growing up, and then I found out like all the stuff about The Blind Side afterwards, and yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up here the winners right now of basically by year here, because something's kind of happened weird with just the way movies in general. It's not even really an Oscar thing. It's movies in general. The pandemic completely jacked everything. When it came down to theaters and everything. Just the way that people went and saw movies. We all got very content with just kind of watching it. On our couches, on our whatever here. But, yeah, it seems like movies have now become a lot more niche. They're not as mainstream as they were. Okay, I finally got them here. I've now vamped long enough here. One battle after another was the last one. Does anybody know who won last year for Best Picture?
Nope.
I have the list up, so I'm not going to cheat it.
Nora.
Yeah.
But the one I think that can kind of qualify for AA if he's looking at it too. 2023 was Oppenheimer, so at least you had one that everybody knew. That you had the Barbenheimer stuff and all that kind of that deal.
And that was a great movie.
But
that was a great movie.
Land, Everything Everywhere All at Once. These aren't exactly, the movies that we kind of remember from, the 90s, going to the 90s here. American Beauty, Shakespeare in Love, Titanic, English Patient, Braveheart, Forrest Gump, Schindler's List, Unforgiven, Silence of the Lambs, Dances with Wolves. That was your 90s. Like, those are movies that everybody was watching. Forrest Gump, Braveheart, Shakespeare in Love, Titanic, I think, is still in the top 5 when it comes down to grossing movies of all time. So, all of those flicks, Shakespeare in Love was an art house flick. There were a few smaller ones in there, but yeah, it's just kind of, movies are now niche. Movies aren't, the Avengers aren't here anymore, where we have a movie that the entire country can just grab onto. It's all just, what are you into? Okay, I like sci-fi stuff. I like action stuff. I like dramas. I don't even like movies. I like, streaming TV series. I don't, it's so fragmented now that, Best Picture at the Oscars, I don't think means as much as it used to.
I think we got to look and check. This might be a project I'll do for my show tomorrow. The last time the Best Picture winner was the highest grossing movie in theaters. And how often does that happen? Because I don't get the sense, just on the outside looking in, without doing the research, I don't get the sense that that's happening, right? And that's what makes it a little bit tricky. I think 2023 could be the exception.
Oppenheimer was number 3.
Barbie was probably number 1, right?
What's up?
Barbie,
and then Mario Brothers. So then, honestly, at least with those 3 movies, none of them were sequels, so I was kind of happy about that. You have Guardians of the Galaxy, Fast X, Spider-Man, but Oppenheimer was number 3. But I think if I'm looking at these for something that has a chance of even being number 1, Gladiator in 2000, maybe. Departed, I'm sure, didn't do it in 06. Slumdog Millionaire, Hurt Locker, The Artist, 12 Years a Slave, Birdman. Maybe Chicago in 02. But, okay, maybe 95 with Braveheart. Forrest Gump in the mid-90s. That might be close. But, normally, and that's always been something the Oscars haven't really... There's been a criticism for them for a long time, was they're not indicative of the normal movie fan. They represent, especially nowadays, the ones that see 200 movies a year, the ones that know, all the trivia about, the Godfather trilogy, about, every little detail of, what was going on in Casablanca. That's who they cater for now. It's not exactly, back in the day when it was Forrest Gump, and we all knew a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
I'll list this off real quick, then we'll move to finish the show. Out of all the Best Picture winners, the highest grossing movies, I'll give you the top 5. Titanic's number 1. Then Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Then Oppenheimer, Forrest Gump, and Gladiator. Those are your top 5 highest grossing Best Picture winners from the Oscars.
Yeah, and again, it's not exactly a, and there's a long list. Saving Private Ryan didn't get it. Shawshank didn't get it. But and going back to it, I think we were talking about this in the pre-show. I was ripping off, the 1995 Best Picture nominees. Let's see if I can pull it up here real quick again. But Forrest Gump ended up winning it. But, you got Pulp Fiction in there. You had Shawshank. There was actually a moment in time where Shawshank, Pulp Fiction, and Forrest Gump were all out at the same time. And by the way, too, if you ask, there was another movie that came out, too, and they still hate the studio for it. Neil Brennan still is pissed as shit that in the middle of all that, Half-Baked came out. They're like, yeah, nobody cared. Nobody gave 2 shits. But, you look at a lot of these, Best Picture lists and stuff like that, stuff in 94, 95, 96, the worst movie out of the bunch would have been a Best Picture nominee, would have been the Best Picture winner probably. So, Yeah, it's a lot more fragmented. People don't pay attention to it as much as normal, you know. But yeah, it's still the Oscars. 1997, The English Patient beat Jerry Maguire. So the box office has never really mattered to them.
Unreal.
Alrighty, so do you want to figure out what we have learned today in lieu of, yes, because in lieu of news and notes, yeah, Oscars and Disney and all this other stuff kind of took precedent, but do we want to figure out what we've learned before we ride off into the sunset here, much like Indiana Jones at the end of last year's season?
I think we could go quick here. I'll lead off. It's not what I've learned. It's what other people need to learn. You know, I wish there was a way when you're driving and, you know, let's just say you need to make a turn, whether it's a right turn or a left turn for whatever reason. You could be going to the next street. You could be pulling into a gas station. You could be doing whatever. I wish there was a way you could alert drivers that you're turning. Here's a PSA from me. Use your damn turn signals. Use them. They're there. All you do is flip the effing switch. Use them. That's all I got. I did a lot of driving today, and the amount of people that do not use their turn signals is infuriating. Please learn how to use your turn signals. That's all I got.
Well, what I learned this weekend is that this Thursday I will be hitting the road for San Antonio Thriller in Texas Festival. First ever Thriller in Texas Festival. We're going to be having vendors out there. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Artists from Texas, Ohio. I'm going to have my guy Cliche with me. I'm going to have ND5 out there as well from Ohio. Going to have Texas artists, Rap Hippie. Devontae, Ruthless June. Some tremendous artists out there. So like I said, Texas, Ohio artists just collabing here. Thriller in Texas Festival. I leave Thursday. It's going to be great weather. Show's Friday, March 20th. So if you're in the San Antonio area or if you're in Texas, come on out. Thriller in Texas Festival. Studio 210 there on Parent Vital. It's going to be awesome. So that's where I'll be at. Warm weather. I learned that I'm going to be in warm weather, and I'm going to be having a lot of fun in Texas, and then I'll be back here. I also learned that programming announcement that we will not have a show, I believe, this upcoming Sunday, AA, because of Rob and I being out of town. So we will reconvene. That's what I learned. I learned a lot this weekend.
Okay, so I've learned the following things. A, computers can mute themselves. Didn't know that. That was new information from me. Also learned a lot about Disney, and I also learned I need to eat my Wheaties before we start the parks. The other thing I learned, and this was actually developing as we were going, we were giving updates for the World Baseball Classic. The WBC needs the ABS system because it was a full count, bottom of the ninth, and a slider came in about a foot low, and that umpire just rung him up and ended the entire thing on a pitch. I actually sent you guys a tweet from Bartolo. This thing was about 6 inches low, and there was nothing they could do about it. So, yeah, I learned some things, and, I learned that Andrew Barry, too, might not be a complete moron when it comes down to being a GM. So, I also learned that you can rescind a trade, too. That was another thing I learned. Because I now learned, actually, when a trade is made in the NFL, we have to do exactly what we do when a touchdown is scored and look at the replay booth to make sure upstairs is cool with it.
Yep, that's dang right. You're dang right, Rozycki.
But, we learned, a lot of educational stuff. I also, learned that 83 points doesn't mean shit in the NBA, so, yeah, we're cool there. So we, a lot of stuff.
Why don't you put yourself, getting ready to get the bow on this show? Why don't you take yourself to your Disney trip before you open up another can of Bam out of bio 83-point performance discussion that you don't want? Because you know you're wrong. And I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I guess, we will reconvene now in 2 weeks when finally AA, you're going to be back from Texas, right, for that one?
Yeah, I will be back. I'll be back from Texas, and then, AA, I'm sure, has got so much Inside Edge Network responsibilities he's got to take care of as a program director. You know, we're all going to be busy.
I'll be back from Shaker Heights, Ohio.
That's right. And Rozycki will be back from Florida with probably a tan. I might tan, but I don't know. I was out yesterday in the wind, and I think I got a wind burn. So
By the way, Wilt Chamberlain had 32 free throws in his 100 game. We're just going to throw it, and 63 field goal attempts.
I mean, enjoy Disney, my bro.
All right.
Let's not talk about Wilt Chamberlain's real stats
Oh shoot!
off the court.
Oh shoot! Oh, send this home.
Bam ain't beating those stats.
Send it home.
I don't know. I think Age is pretty happy with it, but yes, we have for everybody here before we get a violation on some sort of platform, be it YouTube or Twitter here. And speaking of Twitter too, shout out to my buddy Timmy Kulik, Shaggy, dropping in and visiting our live stream and commenting a few times here on it. If you like the music thing, I'd say go with CBW Productions. That's his company out there. You can check him out. Yeah, again, they do the whole music stuff. If you like
they do a great job.
Discussions and debate and commentary and serious issues at work, like what Disney park is the best, I would stay on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. But yeah, shout out to my buddy Tim. Again,
sorry. One last. I apologize.
did somebody get cut?
No. One last thing that I learned. Skip Bayless just tweeted, I try to watch one battle after another. I lasted maybe 45 minutes. Skip Bayless does not approve of the best pitcher.
Well, as long as he doesn't run for president, whatever's clever. But yes, for everybody here, for Eli Moon, for AA Anthony Alford, I am Rob Rozycki, and yes, remember, no show next week. We will see you in 14 days. Have a great one, everybody.